All right, good morning and welcome to our coverage of the Bihar elections 2025. We have a lineup of excellent guests lined up, and what promises to be also a really interesting election results. We're seeing some trickle in of numbers, and these are really initial stages, really early numbers. The numbers going to start getting updated faster right now. From what I understand, the NDA is leading in 29 seats, and the Mahagarbandhan is leading in 18 seats. There are three for others. And all right, so there we are. So just waiting for people to join in. Rahul Kumar is the first one to come in. Rahul, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We've got such excellent guests that I'm super excited about this. We have a bit of a tie up with the reporters and the journalists at PTI who are going to come in and talk to us about what they found on the ground as well as they were reporting. But let me introduce you to the journalists I have with me right now, who, among my favorite voices when it comes to politics. Radhika Ramsesan is a very senior journalist, and she's someone who's tracked elections for decades. And Manish Anand, political editor at Raisina Hills, is heads national politics, parliament, and PMO. I want to welcome both of you to this conversation. Thank you so much for making time. We also have Gautam, Gagan, Makbul, Satak who are joining in right now. Radhika ji, coming to you first. It does seem from the leads that we're just going to pop up onto the screen that the NDA has already gotten a head start. For you, in your mind, is this a given? Is it a foregone conclusion in favor of the NDA?
Good morning, Faith. I have been tracking it from Delhi, though unfortunately I couldn't travel for personal reasons. But there was a certain listlessness up to the RJD's campaign. It was not the vigorous, robust Tejasvi Yadav that we saw in the last elections. It almost seemed like he seemed confused. He didn't know whether should be overwhelmed by the Congress or take the lead. I mean, finally, Lalu Prasad had to step in to sort out things with senior Congress leader Ashok Gehlot and ensure that the RJD was in the front line and not the Congress. So last time again, I felt that the Congress had pulled down the RJD to an extent. Otherwise, the RJD might have got a majority on its own. So it was primarily the opposition style of campaigning, its approach, and its confusion over what issues to take. I mean, Rahul was on a single track program of flagging the vote chori slogan big time. When
Hmm.
this is an assembly election. It's a state election. There's a government which has been Nitish Kumar has been in power for 20 years, and barring a small interlude where he was part of the Mahagathbandhan, he's always allied with the BJP. So you
Hmm.
have a 20-year government, 20-year-old government, and if you cannot put a dispensation like this on the mat, and people have talked about lots of problems with the government, it's not that it's been a dream it's been a dream ride or something for Nitish. I mean, there were plus points, but there were equally minus points. Tejasvi was not allowed to campaign in the way he wanted. That was very apparent to me for a long time. And I think I squarely blame the Congress for that. Finally, as I said,
Hmm.
veteran Ashok Gehlot stepped in to sort out the confusion over ticket distribution, importantly over the projection of Tejasvi. This is a state election. You need a state leader to lead a coalition or even a single party. I mean, even BJP seemed quite reluctant to
Yeah.
project
It was
Nitish.
it was you're so right, because it was only when the Mahagathbandhan announced Tejasvi as their chief ministerial candidate, it seemed like there was some energy that came into that side. They seemed like they had some purpose. Then there was some pressure on the BJP to also declare Nitish Kumar
Yeah.
as their chief ministerial candidate. There was a little bit of like shuffling of the feet on that side as well. Do you believe Nitish Kumar will finish this term as chief minister if the NDA wins?
Oh, well, I think it just depends on how many seats Nitish wins, whether he has an advantage over the BJP or the BJP takes the lead. If the BJP is ahead of Nitish, They will still appoint Nitish as the chief minister. And to your question whether he will complete his term or not, that needs to be
Mm,
seen, because more seats are definitely going to embolden the state BJP, which is bereft of leadership, by the way. I mean, for a long time they were dependent on Sushil Modi, but Sushil Modi never evolved into a leader in his own right. He was more of an understudy to Nitish. And since
mm.
then, they haven't been able to zero in on one sort of central figure to lead the party. So one has to see, but the BJP has a way of tackling things. They will find some leader if it comes to that. And the state unit is
Right.
going to bound to pressure the central leadership to sort of to not to
So,
allow
yeah.
Nitish to complete a full term this time, because
So we
that.
have interesting numbers, Radhika ji. I'm going to interrupt you 1 second. The NDA now leading in 65, and these are leads, and I'll explain to our audience again what we mean when we say leads. Manish, I'll bring you in on this also. But what I want to tell you is, from that 65 that we're seeing the lead in, 40 are for the BJP and 23 for the JDU. Again, I'm putting out the caveat that these are very early hours, which means that each box is being opened, and this is what the first few boxes that are being counted are telling us. They'll go 19 rounds, maybe 20 rounds in every constituency. But Manish, is this something you expected, that the BJP would outdo the JDU within the NDA as well?
Good morning, Faye. That was a
Morning.
2020 story. In 2020 assembly elections, BJP overperformed the JDU. This time, Faye, before we discuss more issues in Bihar politics, the social basis of the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan are almost equal. So the difference between the voting gains is just about 2 to 3 or 4% at the max. So if you take the example of 2020 assembly elections, it was very narrow win for the NDA. And one more big thing is that for the first time in almost 20 years, Bihar has voted more than 60%. So 67 percentage turnout is a big factor in this election. And 2000 was the last election when Bihar had voted more than 60%. At the same time, since 2005, the voting turnout has been on the rise. It has never dipped from 40s to 50s, but all the times the NDA managed to win all those elections. The big thing is that Nitish Kumar election, he's 74 years old. People think that this is probably his last election. In 29, he would be 79 years old. And on the street, because I happened to go to Bihar 4 times, people talked about Nitish Kumar only because of the bigger announcements of welfareism. 10,000 rupees to almost 1 crore 35 lakh women. That's a huge number. So if one woman in a household is getting 10,000 rupees, that may be impacting at least two more voters. So besides that, whatever Tejasvi Yadav promised, as Radhika ji was saying, that the election campaign of the Mahagathbandhan was under shadow after the announcement of the dates of the elections. But remember that Mahagathbandhan was campaigning very hard much before, many months before. Rahul Gandhi had yatra, Tejasvi Yadav had multiple yatras, and Tejasvi Yadav had been announcing too many promises. He announced a lot of many things, and Nitish Kumar just implemented all those his promises while the dates were yet to be announced by the Election Commission. So pension for elderly people to 1,200 rupees, Nitish Kumar announced, and Tejasvi was promising 1,500 rupees. Similarly, women voters are very aggressive in Bihar. They vote in big numbers. And Nitish Kumar has a special constituency of women voters. So what I mean to say is that 67% voter turnout has to be, correspond somehow about the women voters turnout. At the same time, the Chhat celebration, Chhat festival is a big festival in Bihar, and you may have seen trains packed with the people from Bihar, coming from Gujarat, Delhi, so many states. And there are hints, and I have heard from the ground that they overstayed. Festival got over before the first phase of the election, but got to hear that they overstayed in Bihar and they voted in Bihar in big number, and that may be connected to the 67% voter turnout. If the migrant voters have voted in big number in Bihar, who they have voted to, that's a big
Yeah.
question. Did they vote to Mahagathbandhan or to Nitish Kumar? That has to be seen. And these early trends are because of the postal ballots. The EVMs are yet to be opened. So we'll get better, leads in 15 or 10, 20 minutes. Yes, Faye.
Mm. So, we have one really interesting question that's coming from Shreyas, who's on our timeline, who's asking, and either of you, whoever wants to answer this question, it says, is the vote in Bihar still largely based on caste lines, as we've been reading in mainstream media, or has that been changing? And for me, this is also a very interesting question to do with Prashant Kishore and Jan Suraaj, because he attempted to bring in a different kind of politics where he targeted the youth. He's handed out his tickets across caste lines. So he hasn't played a caste card. But I understand from some of the analysts in some exit polls that say they're expecting, even for Prashant Kishore, he's largely got upper caste vote. He would have largely got Bumiyar or Rajput or Brahmin votes more than anything else. So is Bihar still caste voting? Or are women going to be the new cross caste vote bank in Bihar? Radhika ji, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, yeah. Faye, according to me, Bihar is still largely defined by caste. Each party or each partner in a coalition has a fixed vote bank, and it's up to the leader to invest in that, and build on the capital and gain other castes. Now, Nitish has gone about it very astutely. I have to give full marks to Nitish. The EBCs, long neglected, because when Lalu came on the Mandal plank, empowerment of the OBCs, he did get votes of every caste. The others, of course, they have swear by absolute loyalty to Lalu Prasad ji, but he also got the votes of other castes like the Nais and the vegetable sellers,
Yeah.
who are now classified as extreme EBCs. But it is to Nitish's credit that he managed to target this huge vote bank and gain quite a chunk of it, on which he built by empowering women. So, women and EBCs are Nitish's primary vote banks. Now, I am a little surprised at how the BJP looks like it's racing ahead of Nitish, because the BJP has primarily the upper castes on its side,
Yes.
and the upper castes, unlike UP, are not very large in numbers in Bihar. So obviously the BJP has quietly worked on other castes as well. And the RJD, of course, the MY combine is like it's a staple for years and years. And the early trends show that Tejasvi or Lalu have not been able to expand the circumference of their caste,
Mm.
which is unfortunate. And the Congress again doesn't have a well-defined vote bank. The Jan Suraaj you talked about. Now that's interesting. There is when we are talking about youths and women, youths, are they also defined by caste? Or is this the new aspirational section, which, regardless of whether they are Yadavs or Kurmis or Shakyas or whatever, do they aspire for a better life in Bihar? I mean,
Mm.
migration is an issue, and it was spotlighted in a big way during the COVID pandemic, when migrants had to return back
Yeah.
to their homes.
To Bihar. Yeah.
And they spoke about their travels and trauma and everything. So, is that also defined by vote bank? That's not very, by caste, that's not very clear to me. And women, do women, regardless of caste, root for Nitish? I have some doubt about that. I mean, I can't imagine the other women rooting for Nitish and not for the RJD. So, this whole caste factor is a little fluid, in my opinion. So when you're talking about caste versus economic class, I think it is still caste which takes precedence over
Mm.
class in Bihar.
Manishi, same question to you. Is it still caste in your mind, especially when you're traveling around Bihar? Or do you see other sort of lines emerging? Like Radhika ji said, are we looking more now at young people? And I read this really interesting statement. They say young people voting with their suitcases, which means that if you can give us jobs in Bihar, so we don't have to go looking elsewhere, this is the government we want. So on one hand, we have the youth and the Mahila, the Yuva Mahila vote. On the other hand, you have caste lines. Where do you believe this election has gone?
I think there is a change. It's a fluid thing. Caste is a reality of Indian politics. Go to anywhere, any state, caste is the basic denominator in elections. But in Bihar, the politics of 1990s was all about caste. Even early 2000 was all about caste. But I see visible changes. People are, breaking the caste barrier, and they are voting for aspiration and entitlement. They are giving more priority to benefits, to the better living standards, and those things are impacting their voting patterns. For instance, land prices in Bihar. You would be very surprised that land prices, even in the rural parts of Bihar, would match even Western UP or even Noida. Even a city in Bihar, the flat prices or the real estate prices would be matching Noida. So that's what does that signal? That signals that some way money is pouring. The past image of Bihar of being a very poor state,
Mm.
people struggling with poverty and all those things. That's something of past. Things have changed. Last 23, 24, and 25, the GDP growth of Bihar was 9% plus. That's more than the national, average GDP growth. So Bihar under Nitish Kumar has gone tremendous changes that has impacted economically, and that is percolating socially also. And I saw that many Muslim girls, applying for scholarships of the Nitish Kumar government. When they pass 10th exam, they get a few amount. 12th exam, they get amount. When they passed graduation, they get 50,000 rupees in their bank accounts. So these welfareism with economic empowerment of women and other people also, they have created a new social base, and they're not in a bigger way. On a macro level, you can say that okay, Muslim and Yadav
Mm.
would primarily vote for the Mahagathbandhan, but you would be surprised that Congress has the biggest support base among the Bhumiyars, and the Bhumiyars are the upper caste. So
But
most of
Manishi,
the
I heard that this time, forgive me for interrupting you, that Rahul Gandhi made inroads among the Dalit voters. He swam in a lake, he moved around with the Dalit voters. There was a response that actually said that Rahul Gandhi to sunta to rehta hai, hamari baat to rakti hai. He is actually listening to us, he's walking with us. Um, could the Congress also be reaching out to the Dalit voters as well? Is that
yes.
crossover possible?
Faye, you have picked up a very right anecdote about Rahul Gandhi going into a pond to catch fish. That's a
Mm.
caste constituency of boatmen, fishermen community. So fishermen community, they are the extremely backward caste, ABC in Bihar, and they are spread over all the assembly constituencies. In all the 24, 42, 43 assembly constituencies, you would find 5,000, 10,000 fishermen community there. And in their political aspiration to assert their political ambitions, they have even formed a political party that is called VIP. So Mukesh Sahani is the leader of that party, and he is part of Mahagathbandhan. So Mukesh Sahani, you know that he got quite a big share of seats in the Mahagathbandhan. So in Bihar, what's happening is that not only in Bihar, even in Uttar Pradesh, the weaker or the smaller castes, they are politically asserting, they are forming political parties, and they are, bargaining for seats from the bigger political parties. So in that way, Mukesh Sahani is a big player in Bihar politics, and he could be a factor in the outcome of the elections because Nitish Kumar's core constituency, if you look, is the Kurmi and the Koiri castes. That love and kush combination that we talk about.
Mhm.
again, this query caste is very strategic. They are very strategic voters, and they number 10,000 voters in every constituency. So whichever way they swing, they impact the outcome of the elections. So that was the core basis of Nitish Kumar's social engineering. But what Rahul Gandhi tried to do was that to cement Mukesh Sahani's place in Mahagathbandhan and get Congress also into that vote base. But that vote base is primarily with Mukesh Sahani, VIP.
Okay.
And because they see in Mukesh Sahani a future that just like Tejasvi Yadav is the face of Yadav caste, similarly Mukesh Sahani could be the face of the fisherman community. So Rahul Gandhi did try to make inroad, but because you don't have leadership from that caste in your party, so by making that outreach, you would not get votes. That's a big problem. And second, about Dalits that you talked about, indeed, you are
Mm.
right. Congress made a big, attempt to get into the Dalit vote
Yeah.
because they changed the president of the state. The earlier president of the Congress was from the Bhumihar caste, and Rahul Gandhi appointed Dalit from Mayawati's core caste vote, Jatav. So he is now the Congress president in Bihar. But the problem is that Nitish Kumar has nursed the Mahadalit constituency for almost
Yeah.
more than 2 decades. So Mahadalit is largely with JDU. Then you have Jitan Ram Manji, again a very significant Dalit caste, is with the NDA, and then Chirag Paswan. So in a certain pockets of Bihar, the Paswan voters are in very big numbers. So the Lok Jan Shakti party has, because of the Ram Vilas Paswan legacy, they vote for Chirag Paswan's party. So somehow the Dalit equation of the NDA looks better than the Mahagathbandhan because of the visible faces on the ground. You have Jitan Ram Manji, you have Chirag Paswan, then you have large number of Dalit Mahadalit leaders within the ranks of the JDU. So on the BJP side, BJP is weaker in Dalit outreach. So there are 29 assembly seats which are reserved for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Two for the scheduled tribes, 27 for the scheduled castes. So BJP is contesting only 13 seats of them, and other seats are being contested by the JDU and Jitan Ram Manji and Chirag Paswan's party. So somehow the chemistry on the ground and caste equation within the ranks of the NDA look better for the Dalit and the extremely backward castes.
Well, here's a question that I think is very interesting that's come from our audience. Radhika ji, if you want to take this question,
Yeah.
Lakshay Kambol says, as a journalist, what are your opinions about a truck full of boxes that was found near a stronghold in Sarasram? And also, we have one question from Pratik Singh who says, how can the opposition win when every institution works against them? They've already done everything to win. There's SIR, there's vote theft, there's money to women. What's your response to this?
Yeah, Faye, I would say that these factors cannot be overlooked. I mean, the vote story slogan has a place. Now, whether he should have flagged it in such a big way in the Bihar elections is open to debate, especially when there are other issues on hand. But yes, institutional damage is very apparent. I mean, the EC has been blamed on quite a few occasions. There is increasing evidence that elections are being tampered with at both pre-voting and post-voting. As you said, in Sasaram, they found boxes were being confiscated, EVMs. So, I would say that these factors cannot be overlooked, but but they are add-ons. To me, the primary factors would still be how well you nurse your constituency, how well
Mm.
you augment your constituency, like Nitish has done. And surprisingly, I mean, the surprise factor in these elections would be the BJP to me, The BJP is, from whatever figures are available now, the BJP seems to be marginally ahead of the JDU. That to me
Yeah.
is a big surprise factor. Hindutva was never such a big factor in Bihar, but maybe it has played on people's minds in these elections. So your viewers have asked the right question. I agree with them to a large extent, but they are not the primary factors that have motivated or driven this. election. I would still look at caste equations. I would, and as my fellow panelist has said about the leadership of each caste, which the NDA has cultivated, that is very, very important. Whether it is Marji or Chirag Paswan, they or even Upendra Kushwaha to a small extent. I mean, that is very important, which the other side has failed to do. So I would say that yes, institutional damage, institutional assault, these are factors which the opposition will have to look into in future elections. Not just and it's not just the job of the opposition. I think civil society also has to kind of do something about it. I mean, it has to be a much larger movement than it has to transcend parliamentary debates or hangama in parliament. I
Yeah.
think civil society has to involve itself in these kind of movements. But
So,
these,
but Radhika ji, so here's my question as a citizen, as a journalist. People are asking, what is that platform really where this can be taken up? Is it going to be Parliament? Does opposition have a strong enough voice in Parliament? Are they likely to get that justice if they go to Supreme Court? Where is the platform to take up this vote chori allegation? Certainly not the Election Commission, as we have seen, because the Election Commission has said, "Hey, go to court." Right?
yeah,
Which they've already
exactly.
given their answer.
Yeah, so I wouldn't like to comment on the court, but
Mm,
when you're talking about a platform is very important, and that has to go be beyond Parliament, because we cannot really leave trust the opposition to mount a movement. So far, it's Rahul Gandhi has been the visible face of this vote chori agenda. But it's a little dicey, Faye, because even when you're talking about the opposition spectrum, you really do not know which party is fully with the opposition, which party is open to doing business with the NDA. Increasingly, that's a trend. I mean, there are lots of non-aligned parties. I call them the non-aligned lot. They are not going to join any such platform and confront the BJP. So, or even on this, if you're talking about parliament and you're talking about the political establishment, the BJP is still on a stronger wicket than the opposition. But
mm,
it is really civil society, and I think this business about vote chori hasn't really moved the electorate so
yeah,
far.
yeah.
I mean, because they say that we can go and vote. So, what is your problem? We vote for whoever we want, and so on and so forth. So, it hasn't really galvanized the electorate to the extent that the Congress would want it.
I can see Manishji is really waiting to comment on this issue of vote chori. Manishji, so has it moved the people of Bihar at all? I feel like if someone believes Rahul Gandhi's allegation, they are likely to become cynical. And people who are not with the party, with the people who are say BJP supporters, are JDU supporters, will be like, no, it doesn't matter to us.
Faye, the people of Bihar are very assertive about their rights, and at least for political rights. So nobody can snatch their voting rights. They would, just catch hold of those people who would deny them the voting rights. They are very assertive, and whenever the people of Bihar migrate from the poor sections, the first thing that they do is that they will make a ration card. So they are very particular about the documents that they need to stay. So since I also happen to be from Bihar, so I know all these things. So I don't think that anybody can, take out the voting rights of the people of Bihar. They're very assertive. They're very aggressive in these things. And whenever I spoke to the people about Rahul Gandhi's yatra in Bihar about vote chori, I did not hear any, traction from the people. The
Mm,
people were
mm.
very enthusiastic about Rahul Gandhi's allegations. So somehow there was a disconnect between Rahul Gandhi's yatra and the people's response. Faye, just one comment I was very eager to make to Radhika ji is
Yes.
that Bihar is politically a state of social justice. That's the image of Bihar. So Bihar is a
Mm,
politically a state of social justice. But during Durga Puja, I was in Bihar. So while during the procession of idol, immersion, what kind of songs they were playing in the trucks? I will just give you a sample. माँ जगदम्बे माँ इस बार कश्मीर के साथ पूरा पाकिस्तान दे. Okay, These were the songs, were playing while the procession was going through the Muslim dominated areas in Bihar. So that signals that, very gradually, very systematically, the politics of Hindutva has been, percolated in Bihar. So it is no more just social justice politics. It's now a mix. The politics of Hindutva and the politics of social justice as well. At the same time, Faye, Bihar is not a very politically homogeneous state. So there are regions within Bihar, they vote very differently. For instance, if you take Simanchal, so Simanchal is the region of Bihar which has very high Muslim
Yes.
population. So there the politics of Hindutva works very well for the NDA. Even the JDU benefits from the politics of Hindutva. And in the last election 2020, NDA did better than the
Yeah.
Mahagathbandhan in Simanchal. At the same time, if you go to Shahabad, Shahabad is the area which is adjoining Uttar Pradesh. There, the BJP bigwigs like R.K. Singh, even Upendra Kushwaha, they were defeated. Even BJP lost the Sasaram Lok Sabha seat, Ara Lok Sabha seat, Buxar Lok Sabha seat. BJP lost because Shahabad is an area where the social justice works, and CPI ML is incidentally very strong in this region because they have worked with the people. At the same time, Shahabad is a region where left-wing extremism or the left politics has a big history, almost 50 years of history, and the landless and the landowners fight
Mm,
has been going
mm.
on for several decades. So several regions of Bihar vote very differently. So if you go to
Okay.
Magad,
So,
then the RJD
Manish,
does
one second.
very better.
Yeah, sorry, forgive me for interrupting you. Asim Kaval joins us. Asim's from PTI, and he primarily for PTI tracks Congress and other opposition parties. He also tracks Lok Sabha. He's been to Bihar multiple times during the course of this campaign to cover the election for PTI. Asim, first of all, we're seeing these initial trends come in. NDA leading in 82, of which 45 leads belong to the BJP. The Mahagambandhan leading in 58, and 45 of those belong to the RJD. As if from the trends that you're seeing right now, did you already notice this when you were traveling on the ground? A lot of people said that the Mahagambandhan, and Radhika ji was saying that the Yadav camp seemed a little listless. It didn't have the buzz that the Prime Minister was carrying during his campaign.
See, for me, the Bihar election, if I have to compare it to something, it would be like a 70s Bollywood pot boiler. It is a layered election. There are too many layers to it. There are plots, there are subplots. So on one hand, while we are talking that there is NDA versus the India bloc. There are many battles within the battle, because there is it also depends inside the NDA, whether JDU emerges as a bigger winner or the BJP emerges as a bigger winner. Then there is the angle of Chirag Paswan, how he performs on the India bloc side. While RJD obviously has to do the heavy lifting, and if it has to come anywhere close to forming the government, the RJD has to be above 80 seats. Uh, but again, like the last time when they fell short by a few seats, the critical factor was Congress had not performed up to the mark. So again, the focus, I think, for them is also not just their own performance, but also the Congress has to better its performance from the last time. Now, coming to the ground, I think the election campaign of the India bloc, yes, to start off with, because it started off early with the voter Adhikar Yatra, but as again, though it was gaining a lot of traction, but the vote chori factor is not that big a factor on the ground in Bihar. So after that, it was a bit listless for some time, but then again it picked up with Tejasvi Yadav being announced as the CM face. And in the last run, I thought that the India bloc also had done well to put up a fight, and RJD, primarily because of RJD and Tejasvi Yadav's campaign, was effective in that sense. But I do agree that when in the earlier my earlier trips, Nitish Kumar, was also facing some anti-incumbency, but in the later this thing that changed. There was on the ground there was a lot of sympathy for him. There was this, there was this factor that it's his last election, and he should be given a very respectable farewell. A lot of his supporters were it didn't matter to them whether his health was fine or not. They wanted to back the JDU, so they gained big
Mm.
time in that stretch. So I think that if these trends hold, then NDA may pull through. But I still believe that there was a fight on the ground, and the RJD in the end did put up a very good campaign, and especially Tejasvi Yadav. Also, a factor that is not being talked about is that there were, especially for the RJD, this election is also a litmus test for two backroom boys, who are never discussed in the media, but they formulated the strategy for their respective parties. On the Congress's side, there was Krishna Allavaru, who's Rahul Gandhi's go-to man for tricky elections, and in the past he has delivered for the Congress. So Krishna Allavaru was put in charge, though there was a lot of internal resentment to his appointment within the party, because he's not your usual political person. But he's a very shrewd strategist that ways, and he relies, his style is different. He relies more on surveys and all. Whether that pays off and all, you can't say, and if it doesn't, everybody will be asking for his head. Similarly, for the RJD, Sanjay Yadav is their go-to man. So he's devised the entire strategy. He's built up Tejasvi's image. He stepped out of his father's shadow. So a lot will depend. If things don't go well, the respective parties will be asking for the head of these two people also. So a lot of
Okay.
writing for them.
All right, Asim, I'll come back to you on that. I've got Sharad Pradhan joining us as well, senior journalist. Mr. Pradhan, good morning. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Interesting numbers. I'm just going to take our audience through the numbers for a minute. NDA now leading in 89 seats. About 46 of those, I understand, at least 50 belong to the BJP. So BJP is now crossed 50. JDU is at about 33. So that gap, I'm actually very curious about the gap between the BJP and the JDU is becoming wider. On the other hand, the Mahagathbandhan leading at about 65 seats, with the RJD contributing 52 out of 65. The Congress has 7 leads right now. Prashant Kishore seems to be sitting on either 1 or 2 leads
Okay.
at this point, perhaps not more than that. So, Mr. Pradhan, this is the
Yeah.
question that everyone's asking. The whole vote chori and all of these other sounds we heard about. Oh, there were trucks with EVMs in it that were found and things like that.
Yeah.
Is that likely, you think, to have moved anybody in Bihar, or is Bihar still largely about caste and welfare?
Well, unfortunately, Bihar continues to be all about caste and welfare, and which in this case was converted into more of I would call it a kind of a bribe, which Nitish Kumar did during the election while when the election code of conduct was on, yet they continue to release the money, which is questionable. Well, but that is what works, and Nitish Kumar apparently understands the pulse of the people better than anybody else. And this welfareism, which we call welfareism but in other words, it is more of a which even the Prime Minister used to call it revdi, not anymore. When it comes to others, he calls it revdi, which is in other words bribe. So these things, unfortunately, in Bihar, caste continues to prevail over every other thing, which has its flip side, that Bihar doesn't turn communal, which is a big thing, because Bihar invariably you can't divide people on Hindu-Muslim lines, and it is largely because caste is very deeply entrenched in the society. But what is happening, as you pointed out, issues like vote chori and other even real issues which were raised by Prashant Kishore do not seem to matter in Bihar. Bihar continues to remain in the in the traditional voting pattern, and the mindset of the people continue. What surprises me is when we bracket, lot of people said that because women were going en bloc to Nitish Kumar. But then they have reasons. A lot of analysts have been saying that, and reasons are there, and they say that at the last minute, what further helped him was the 10,000 rupees sent into their accounts straight. So, but the point is that I've always been wondering, how is it that women have been taken there as a single block? After all, when you talk of youth, there are women among the youth among women also. How is it that they do not have and women have the same aspiration as young boys, young men? How is it that they also do not get influenced by promises made by some of the promises made by this fellow Tejasvi? Well, were more like jumlas, as one we always refer to when we refer to Mr. Modi. So, like saying that every house who is not doesn't have a sarkari job will get a sarkari naukri.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was the other things made sense, like giving 30,000, promising 30,000 rupees for women's empowerment and for enabling them to set up their own businesses. That makes sense. But I think that is the reason that these things have not impacted. But I still don't believe that there is if there is surge for for the RJD among young men, then there's no reason why that it shouldn't be among women. Well, you remember how most of the channels were busy showing long queues, focusing on the women. Women, there are separate queues for
No,
women.
but Pradhanji, I want to ask you this, right? A lot of the exit polls, and we know that even though the JDU and the BJP came up with this 10,000 transfer to women, women were always big fans of Nitish Kumar in Bihar because of various, I mean, there have been cycles, there have been,
Prohibition being one, prohibition also being one.
yes, provision also. So, one, did Nitish Kumar really need the extra 10,000 rupees? And since women have showed up 10% more than men in most of these areas, does that sort of cement Nitish Kumar in a strong position? I want to bring this to Radhika ji for in a minute before I come back to you,
Yeah.
Mr. Pradhan. Radhika ji,
Yeah, sure.
are women likely to put Nitish Kumar back in the driving seat, given the fact that the turnout was so much higher than men? Can we take
Yeah,
that for granted?
yeah. It seemed it was very apparent, Faye, that women have, that's a solid vote bank that Nitish has
Nitish Kumar.
cultivated. Now, whether they put him back or not, I don't know. I mean, before me, there are trends which show that the BJP is ahead of Nitish Kumar, and to me, that is the most striking feature of this
Yeah.
election. No media report reflected the BJP's strength on the ground. And then the BJP was seen as someone just tagging behind the JDU, and it was the centrality of Nitish was emphasized. This could change a little in these elections. I don't know. But yes, if Nitish wins and he's back in the driver's seat, then he has to thank his women constituency and of course his EBC constituency. Women have been very loyal to Nitish. Prohibition, yes, it had its pluses, it had its minuses. There were fault lines, but they were ready to sort of forgive him for that. Then you have the cash transfer, and in between the bicycles for girls. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
scheme that he copied from Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha was the first to introduce it in Tamil Nadu. But whatever, whether he's copied or not, it was a good scheme. Number of things that he's done for women, I mean, they cannot be overlooked. And the only thing, as Sharat said, it is have women kind of voted him across caste lines. I mean, that is something I would want to check. I mean, whether Yadav women have voted, whether Chirag's women voters have also voted Nitish. Anyway, a vote for Chirag is also
Yeah.
a vote for the NDA. So it doesn't really matter in the ultimate analysis. But yes, I mean, women, Nitish has to be beholden to his women constituency if he is back as the chief minister, which does seem a strong likelihood at the moment, even though the BJP is ahead. Let me emphasize that about the BJP. No media report reflected the BJP strength on the ground. What has
Asim, do
happened?
you agree? No media report reflected the BJP strength on the ground.
You
Yeah.
asking me?
See, most of the people have been talking about Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi Yadav because of the strong individual personalities that they have, and the BJP's strength was not reflected as such. But I would like to point out here that on the ground, when the BJP started, its campaign was slightly different. They were trying to focus on themselves, but when they realized that it was not working, they very quickly changed their campaign and sort of centered it around Nitish Kumar and took a lot of benefit out of that. So their campaign strategy that was under the radar this time, not so aggressive as it is in other elections, but it was quite effective that ways on the ground, because they realized that they could benefit of Nitish Kumar, and obviously a vote for Nitish Kumar or a vote for Chirag Paswan is also a vote for the NDA. So that way they were very effective in their campaign, and they changed track when they realized that it would be better to ride on Nitish Kumar's the image that he has.
Yeah, on the other hand, the BJP's campaign was so aggressive. The PM speeches are enough proof to show that, the BJP can get as bellicose as it does in other states.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a very aggressive campaign that the BJP mounted. And I mean, I thought the Bihar electorate was not receptive to that kind of rhetoric or that kind of, that fire and brimstone spewing speeches. But it looks like something has changed. So,
I do want to bring you these numbers right now. So the
Yeah.
NDA is leading in 130 seats, of which the BJP is leading in 67 and the JDU is leading in 56. The Mahagathbandhan is leading in 71 seats, of which the RJD has 56, and the Congress is just crossed single digits, it just crossed double digits at 10. So, Pradhanji, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
It does seem like the RJD is pulling its weight here, and the Congress is playing spoil sport in the Mahagathbandhan, is not able to actually perform.
Congress from day one, it didn't seem, other than it was Rahul Gandhi was one man army who was trying to mobilize people and raise issues which do matter. But at the end of the day, Congress failed to build its cadres. And whatever Alaveru, kudos to him for whatever his strategies. But this report said that he was not aware of the ground realities. He didn't know the difference between Begusarai and Lakhisarai. So and in any case, I don't blame the poor chap for not building. When you don't have at the grassroots level, you don't have your people. How do you mobilize?
Yeah.
What the Congress is lacking is cadres everywhere. And Rahul Gandhi alone, it seems that Rahul Gandhi is just running his campaign on issues which should impact the people, but they don't. At the end of the day, you find, and because the message doesn't get carried to the grassroots level on account of absence of the party workers. And I don't understand why he has not made any effort to build the party from the grassroots level, which is the case in Uttar Pradesh also. No effort is there. You can see it, and that is what has happened in Bihar also. So to expect that Congress would do anything spectacular, I think it is it's completely based on until it's a fact that unless you have people like, for instance, on the voting day, if you don't have people, you don't have somebody at the polling booth. What do you do? And that's what the Congress lacks completely.
Yeah.
And they
So
have no.
no cadre on the grassroots.
Yeah.
Apparently, Tej Pratap is trailing. Manish Anandji, here are a couple of questions that are coming up. One, what happened to Prashant Kishore? How come he's not been able to translate any of this into any leads? We're looking at maybe 3 leads for him. We're not really sure. No effort from Rahul Gandhi, and it doesn't. It seems like poor results for the effort from Prashant Kishore. Which of these two do you want to address first?
Both I would like briefly. Prashant Kishore has a long future ahead for him, and he may not be winning assembly seats, but he damaged the narrative of both the Mahagathbandhan and the NDA. It was all because of Prashant Kishore's campaign that you did not hear Viksit Bharat even once spoken in Bihar's campaign by the BJP leaders.
And you didn't hear
So
of
BJP
Operation
leaders had
Sindoor
to
either.
fall back.
You,
Yeah, BJP leaders had to fall back on reviving the memories of Jungle Raj because Prashant Kishore pushed BJP on the back foot on the issue of migrations, unemployment, and other issues which are deeply connected with the youth. In my interactions with the people in Bihar, they were very sympathetic to Prashant Kishore. Even the Yadav youths were very sympathetic to Prashant Kishore, saying that there should be a change in the politics in Bihar. He happens to be from Brahmin caste, and probably he has some sort of self limitation on his own, expectations to contest elections, and probably he committed a tactical mistake not to contest the election. If he had contested, there would have been bigger message of seriousness. So that he has to understand. Second big mistake that he committed was that he gave tickets to mostly money bags. In Bihar, doctors are the big money bags because public health, the hospitals in the government sector, they are not more relied by the people, and people go to the private clinics where they charge, doctors charge, even 2,000 rupees for consultation charges, and they have their own testing facilities, medicine shops, everything would be there. So Prashant Kishore gave a big number of tickets to doctors, which were not very popular. The people were not, connected to the ground. So that was the second disconnect that he committed. Coming back to Congress problem, Faye, Congress was very aggressive in demanding that it should be given 80 assembly seats, 75 assembly seats, and RJD was saying that in 2020 we gave you a lot of many seats and you could win only 17 seats. So why are you demanding so many seats? And Mahagathbandhan was very late in arriving at the seat adjustment. So that quarrel went on far longer, and that also may have damaged the chemistry within the alliance. One aspect that Faye, I wish to speak here is that one of your listener even asked, what happens to the opposition parties when institutions are damaged and all those things. Let me remind you the Jharkhand Assembly elections just a year back. Only 1 year back, in the same time Jharkhand Assembly election was held, the same sort of aggressive BJP campaign was seen. Ghuspaitiye, Love Jihad, and all those things. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was leading the same sort of narrative in Jharkhand. But in Jharkhand, you had a different verdict because Hemant Soren was able to galvanize the tribal vote base, and the extremely backward caste, the Kudmis, were backing Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. You had a social base which were backing your party, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, and they were able to stop the BJP from wresting power in Ranchi. And it was a history kind of a thing that Jharkhand Mukti Morcha for the first time won a back-to-back mandate in Jharkhand. So the full machinery of the BJP was deployed in Jharkhand in the same way it has been done in Bihar. Still, Hemant Soren was able to stop BJP from coming to power. So the message here is that you need to build your party, you need to build your narrative, you need to build your cadre, and you have to connect with people, and you have to have a face at the state level. Rahul Gandhi cannot win state elections. He can win Lok Sabha elections, but he cannot win Bihar elections. He is not going to be the chief minister. So
I want to bring to you this piece of information. So apparently JDU's Anand Kumar Singh is leading right now in the constituency. RJD's Veena Devi is trailing. Now JDU's Anand Kumar Singh is a notorious Bahubali. He was elected. He was arrested.
He's in jail, and he is in jail at the moment.
So the fact that this Bahubali culture is still very, in spite of everything that we're talking about and the change that we might be seeing, the Bahubali culture in the elections of Bihar has not changed.
Anand Singh cannot be defeated. When he is in jail, when he is not able to contest elections, his wife wins elections. When he is contesting, he wins elections. So Mukama is all about Chote Sarkar, that Anand Singh is. And ironically, he is from JDU, so which promises to give Susashan. So in Mukama politics, even the rivals of Anand Singh also happens to be Bahubali. So Mukama somehow is a Bahubali bastion, and there are some pockets in Bihar where Bahubali politicians, still work. Even Jan Suraaj, even Prashant Kishore welcomed one wife of Bahubali in Shahabad area. So somehow even Anand Mohan Singh's wife, contested from
Yeah.
JDU, and Nitish Kumar went to meet Anand Mohan Singh. Pappu Yadav, Congress quotes Pappu Yadav so much. Rajesh Ranjan, alias Pappu Yadav, he's a big Bahubali of Purnia. Now he has
Yeah,
become
yeah.
a Robin Hood, but his past is all about being a Bahubali. So some pockets have Bahubali politics still left in Bihar, but largely I can say 80% of Bihar politics has
Yeah.
moved out of
Let me
Bahubali.
bring in Asim. Asim smiling. Asim, when you travel and when you're tracking, are some things about Bihar never going to change? You know,
True.
the sort of pop culture jokes that we have about Bihar is always going to be that way.
True. Just I would also like to add to what Manishi said. Prashant Kishore Singh, when we were traveling during the Voter Adhikar Yatra, there was a lot of traction that Prashant Kishore and his narrative was getting, and felt as if he'll make a very big impact. But that narrative was sort of hit by the fact that he decided not to contest the polls also, because I saw a lot of disappointment among the people who were supporting him, because he himself had built this narrative that he may take on Tejasvi Yadav from Raghopur, or he may take on some political bigwig, and that is the narrative he himself had built. And suddenly when he announced that he's not contesting, that so his narrative that way was dented a bit on the ground. So just one point that I wanted to make. And yes, you're right that Bihar has that quintessential that things that we talk about are there on for everyone to see, especially the caste factor. The everyone has been talking about women voters and so on and so forth. But I also noticed that the caste factor is more stronger. A woman who's a Yadav is more likely to vote for the RJD than for the other side. It's not as if that similarly a Muslim woman is more likely to vote for the India bloc than for the NDA. So it's not just it's gender identities at play. The caste identity is much more stronger in Bihar. And similarly, yes, that can be said for both UP and Bihar, that they like these their netas to be these strong men. They do have an impact on the people. They like strong men. Bahubalis are looked upon with a lot of respect
Yeah.
and awe, and that
Oh.
continues. We
Yeah.
can discuss it
So
and say that it's sad that this is happening, but then that is the ground reality.
So let me bring in Radhika ji here.
Yeah.
Radhika ji, let me take you through the numbers. Obviously, in these leads right now at 9:30, the NDA has comfortably crossed that halfway mark. It needs to be at 122. It is at 145 at this point. The Mahagathbandhan is at 74. JDU, RJD neck and neck at about 60-59, but BJP and Congress is where the massive difference is. BJP is pulled 75 and Congress has done 10. So my questions to you, Radhika ji, are these leads enough, you think? Is there any room for an upset at all? Because the gap is massive. And
Massive.
is this gaping hole coming largely from the Congress?
Yeah, I think that will need a little more, analysis and study. But as you rightly said, the gap is just too huge for
Okay.
the opposition to make up. I mean, the opposition has lost the election. I'm calling it out.
Hmm.
And it looks like a landslide for the NDA. I mean, and especially the BJP, as I keep emphasizing, the BJP's performance is something to be looked closely. I mean, what has happened? Has Mandir, which was never such an issue in Bihar, though Bihar was the one of the epicenters of the Mandir movement, has Mandir trumped Mandal? I don't think. Caste, as Asim rightly said, is very still a defining factor in Bihar. So, what is it about the BJP that is likely to place it as the single largest party? I mean, it looks like it's edging towards that.
Mm.
So, to me, the gap is too large for the opposition to bridge. To Congress, yes, Congress has pulled down the Mahagathbandhan big time. There is no kind of camouflaging or trying to
Right.
cover the issue. It has, and
Hmm.
Rahul Gandhi's strategist has obviously not got it right. I mean, he's from Karnataka, probably not understood Bihar to the extent that he requires. And this Vikashsheel Insan Party, which was also kind of hyped up because it's supposed to have the following of the Mallas or the Nishads, the fisher folk, that has not really made an impact. So where have the Malla votes gone? Have they gone to the BJP and JDU? Possible. I mean, they have to go somewhere. I mean, they can't be sort of fishing in the pond, so to speak. So the BJP's allies, the smaller partners, are doing much better than the
Hmm.
constituents in the
In fact,
Mahagathbandhan.
in fact, Radhika ji, five candidates of the Lok Janshakti Party, Ram Vilas, are leading right now. They're an NDA ally.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah,
the allies seem to be doing well. The BJP itself has done very well, and that
exactly,
will be
And
yes.
And that's not good
exactly.
news for Nitish Kumar, because all this talk about Nitish Kumar being projected as the chief minister at the last minute,
Hmm.
that was the point of after the first round of polling. The general impression was that BJP, there is a lot of flutter in the BJP over the kind of voting that had happened. At least that is how it was speculated, and uh, and that is the reason that the BJP deputed Rajnath Singh and Dharmendra Pradhan to formally declare Nitish as their chief ministerial face, which they had not done all along. And Nitish was quite cut up with that. And then, as reports said, that he even refused to talk to the BJP leaders, which
Hmm.
led them to declare it. It has, and that has unfortunately not made a difference. This shows, I mean, the way BJP, the manner in which BJP is leading, it shows that that is what was believed at that time. Either that is not true, or it did not make any difference to declare Nitish Kumar as the chief ministerial face. That is also one of the reasons why BJP is way ahead in this manner, which matches surprisingly with the exit polls, which were seen as doctored.
Hmm.
The bulk of the exit polls.
Some of the analysis that I'm reading actually says that the NDA is leading in Dalit seats.
Oh,
So, yeah, yeah, that was my reaction also. I was like, oh, okay, very good. Manishji, do you want to take a stab at that? NDA is leading in Dalit seats. Kya hua? What has changed?
Faye, I had told you that there are 29 reserved seats in Bihar, and in
Hmm.
2020 assembly seats, 2020 assembly election also, the NDA had done exceedingly well in reserved seats. The
Hmm.
JDU, BJP had won 9 seats, JDU had won 11 seats. And Chirag Paswan was not part of the NDA at that time, but Jitan Ram Manjhi is the sole leader of the Mushahar caste, which is part of the Mahadalit. So, as I said previously, that NDA has a good battery of faces from the Dalit community, and because Nitish Kumar has cultivated the Mahadalit constituency in the last 2 decades, so there is a kind of bond that the chief minister has with them. So, in contrast, there is one factor which we haven't discussed yet, is that why did BJP go whole hog about Jungle Raj? When you have Tejasvi Yadav as the CM face of the Mahagathbandhan, you see that Yadav man is going to be the chief minister, and somehow when you see a Yadav politician as a CM face, people get start beginning to think of Jungle Raj of the 1990s, of the Lalu and Rabri legacy. So somehow Tejasvi Yadav has inherited that
Yeah.
legacy, and which has he has not been able to shrug off, and that is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi and all BJP leaders banked on the Jungle Raj narrative. That
Yeah,
was
in fact,
also to stoke fear.
has Tejasvi Yadav, is he carrying the ghost of the Jungle Raj, or did the Prime Minister run such a sharp campaign that idea just stuck because of the campaign that was run by the BJP.
And
Not
considering
just
that you're
about the
20-year-old
campaign.
Jungle Raj had been there 2 decades back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Which
the
means that,
memory of the
so
campaign.
sorry, the 22% voters in Bihar who are between 18 and 29, उनको याद भी नहीं रहेगा because it was
Yeah, exactly.
20%.
Yeah.
Now the tales of the of the Jungle Raj, they have become folklore. People are told about those stories, how the people were killed, their body parts were cut into pieces, thrown into the Ganga. So these are the stories which are told in villages, and people relish. They even add on their own creativity on on those incidents. So now people are even writing books. On those era. So Jungle Raj memory is not forgotten. Even the youth are well acquainted with those things. What I wish to bring in here is that uh, when BJP leaders, PM Modi, spotlighted Jungle Raj, they stoked fears, particularly among the Dalit and the EBCs. So in Bihar, land is a very emotional thing. So land is something because almost 80% of the farmers or the people of Bihar, they are into subsistence farming. So they rely on land. So or Jungle Raj is directly linked with the land grab by the Bahubalis, the strong men of the 1990s era. So people were very afraid that if Jungle Raj is revived, then their livelihood would be in danger.
I want to bring in Manvendra Jha of PTI, who joins us right now, a very seasoned, journalist, covers primarily agriculture, real estate sector, also Rajya Sabha, hails from Bihar, is an avid political observer. But I want to let me first give you the numbers as they stand right now. NDA leading in 157 seats. BJP 82, JDU 66 within that NDA. The RJD and the Congress on the other side with 75 between them. It does seem like we're looking now at a landslide. Vedaji, and from your experience on the ground, is this gap likely to get wider?
it it does look like a landslide, and it's a repeat of 2024 Lok Sabha election. If we go by the seats, I think around 170 seats, JDU and BJP were leading in 170, 160 seats in the Lok Sabha seats. So I think they are repeating it. And what is the reason behind it? There are many, I think. And one thing nobody has factored in, the impact of Operation Sindoor.
Acha? वो कैसे?
So
How did that hit?
I
Nobody talked about Operation Sindoor.
but
Neither
I
Prime Minister nor.
nobody talked about it, but I think it is having an impact besides the 10,000 rupees that we have talked about. And one thing more, if we go by the strike rate of BJP, it's almost 80% by so far by the trend. So it's
Right.
80%, which means by not announcing the candidate of CM candidate Nitish Kumar, BJP cadre seems to be infused that
Yes, yes, go ahead.
they have now got a chance to have their own CM face. So BJP cadre seems to be infused. So impact of Operation Sindoor, not announcing Nitish Kumar as a CM candidate has benefited BJP. Going by the trend, I am saying.
But Manoj, they did announce Nitish Kumar as the chief minister. उन्होंने
Yeah,
बोला था
at the last minute after the first round of polling, they did announce.
But not by the top, neither by the PM nor by the HM.
Oh, so you think there is a possibility that Nitish Kumar will not be chief minister?
Going
At
by
least
the
for 6
strike,
months?
going by the strike rate, obviously BJP will try. If they maintain 80% or 75% strike rate, they will definitely push this time. And there could be a possibility, is known as a Paltu Ram, so there could be a possibility of alignment of between BJP, JDU and RJD.
In which case
That
they
gives-
could split. They could engineer a split in the in JDU. Don't you think so?
A split is not possible because JDU is also performing good. It's not so bad. It's
No, no.
not like
In
last
case
time.
there is a, in case this Nitish Kumar doesn't go well with the BJP over this question of chief ministership, do you think there could be a split in the, because BJP would can do that?
It would be easier to split at the Lok Sabha level, but not at the assembly level.
Okay.
So you are saying that in case the BJP does not make Nitish Kumar the chief minister, with his current 66 that we're looking at, RJD at 60 roughly, they will have just about enough to hobble over that halfway mark. And there's a possibility that Paltu Ram will make a comeback and we'll actually see these two parties get back into bed together. I mean, they're very interesting analysis.
Yes, yes. Because all the polls were showing that JDU is doing well and BJP is not doing well. BJP was given third after JDU, RJD, and then BJP. But it's other way around as far as the current trend shows. And one thing more I would like to add: the performance of
Yes.
CPI-ML, the performance of LJP, performance of VIP have been not good so far as per the trend.
What is your impression of Prashant Kishore?
Only
Well,
thing
maybe-
where I think only thing where the exit poll is right is Prashant Kishore.
No, so yeah, I want to take this now to Manish Anand. Do you believe that there is a possibility of JDU and RJD getting back together in case BJP doesn't agree to make Nitish Kumar chief minister?
First, the BJP will not commit such a big mistake because the memory of 2015 assembly election in Bihar may not be forgotten for the BJP. Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi had defeated BJP in a big way in 2015 assembly election, despite Brand Modi at its peak across the country. And secondly, Prime Minister Modi needs JDU for the stability of the central government. So they will not try to disturb the NDA strength at the national level, and because of which no misadventure would be attempted. I don't foresee any scope for the BJP, going for Maharashtra model in Bihar. There is one more aspect is that BJP is without faces in Bihar. It's all only Brand Modi, which is pulling up, the people of Bihar to vote for the BJP. Although the two deputy chief ministers from the BJP ranks, you would not be able to immediately recall their names. Even most of the people would struggle to recall their names. So they don't have, visible faces in Bihar. They are. The joke is that Bihar BJP state leaders are district leaders. They are not known in more than one district. So BJP is very limited. And secondly, the social base of BJP in Bihar is very limited. This is the reality that the BJP leaders know, that without JDU, there is no politics for them. They will not be in power. So if they have to be in power, they have to stay with JDU. They have to stay with Nitish Kumar. And this alliance worked well since 2005. Barring the 2015 and briefly afterwards. And BJP would know that Nitish Kumar gracefully, after some time, when things don't work health-wise for him, would say goodbye to politics. And somehow Nitish Kumar is not a dynast. He's not a dynastic. Doesn't believe in
Yeah. So
dynastic
actually,
politics.
that's the question, Manish. To you. Who after Nitish Kumar for JDU? Who's the next face over there?
That is a big question, and in this election campaign also Nitish Kumar said many a times that unlike Lalu Prasad Yadav, he never promoted dynasty. So Nitish Kumar takes pride in Karpuri Thakur, saying that he truly practices the politics of Karpuri Thakur, and Karpuri Thakur in his lifetime never brought any of his family members into politics. When he died, even he had no house in his name. So that kind of politics Karpuri Thakur left behind, and Nitish Kumar takes pride in Karpuri Thakur's legacy. But Nitish Kumar's son is very active. He is an engineer by profession. But there was a speculation that he would be brought into JDU, but that was not done. So I think that after a few years, there could be an understanding between BJP and Nitish Kumar that if health doesn't permit, then there could be a change in leadership, but not for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And one thing is that I can say from my source-based information, that Nitish Kumar has a core team of very good, core team of advisors, that they are not bureaucrats and they are not into active politics. They are retired. They have quit IAS and services, and they are from the caste of Nitish Kumar only, Kurmi caste. They are the core group of Nitish Kumar, and they have actively managed this election. They have countered LJP's encroachment into JDU vote base. They have tried to stop any, conspiracies taking effects in the elections.
Okay.
So they are on grounds. So you can remember that Naveen Patnaik also, despite bad health, completed his last term. So he was in a very poor state of health in the last term. So similar kind of situation we can see in Bihar also, and BJP would not forget 2015 memories.
Manvita, a question to actually a question, then I'll bring in Mr. Pradhan as well. So Bihar has 22% voters who are between 18 and 29, and 53% voters who are under the age of 40. So very young voting population. Are they likely to have gone with the prime minister? Is that what we're seeing now in these results?
I think they have voted on the basis of caste only, because Tejasvi tried to attract youth by promising jobs, but I think he overpromised. Giving job to every, that to a government job in every household was too much. So nobody
Yeah.
believed him. Nobody believed him.
So, Mr. Pradhan, we
Yeah.
didn't comment on this. The completely ridiculous manifestos that were released in this election on both sides, right? To a point where this entire exercise was made, into a joke. The manifesto
Joke.
is meant to be a very serious declaration of what this party's belief is, what its solutions are for the state or the body that it's looking at. But it was almost as if, neither the audience nor the political parties were taking it seriously.
I think it's become it's a done thing now not to take the manifestos. Neither the parties who bring out the manifestos nor the people have much interest or faith in manifestos, which make, because most of them invariably you will find them as ridiculous, making all kinds of promises which cannot be translated on ground. So I really don't believe all along it's become a one-day ritual, and you have seen how NDA, when they released their manifesto, it was a half a minute job, and because
Yeah.
Nitish Kumar walked out of the press conference, and everybody else followed him. So it was the whole event was like a big joke. It didn't, and that time it created an impression that Nitish Kumar, there was something wrong between Nitish Kumar and the BJP, which is why he did that, because if Nitish Kumar was not, he felt that he was being undermined by the BJP there. So all this went to show, it, the result is quite, the appears to be quite coming out in a way that it is quite surprising from what the ground situation and the ground reports were. It is really unbelievable. And I'm sure Mahagathbandhan is going to blame it on the election commission also. You know how much, but considering that they had already exposed a lot of malpractices, visible malpractices of the election commission, I don't think they can add to that. Yes, but one thing it shows, when we talked about, Manveen was mentioning about the Operation Sindoor, none of the BJP leaders talked even once about Operation Sindoor, which was quite surprising. That
Yeah.
and Prime Minister is so used to mentioning it every at the drop of the hat. He talks about Operation Sindoor, and he even said that he has suspended it. Though we have yet to see after the Delhi blast crazy whether he's going to resume Operation Sindoor or not. But the point is that both Home Minister and Prime Minister went to town on Ghuspetias, blame, which is what they were trying to build, this narrative of Bangladeshi Muslims infiltrating into Bihar and using, and which is what they were blaming Nitish and this blaming RJD and Congress for using them to gain an edge. But their own SIR. and made it absolutely loud and clear that at the end of the SIR, in which they took away so many lakh voters, only they were able to identify only three chaps whom they were accused of being Ghuspaitias. Three among lakhs. So, which was a false narrative. This also shows that BJP continues to ride on the facade of falsehood that they build. In the narratives that which they create on complete falsehood, they gel with the people. And as you said, for some reason, I will not be surprised that the youth in Bihar also continues to be as enamored by Narendra Modi by his rhetoric that nothing else gels with them. You know,
Yeah.
things, even if the youth is not impacted by what the kind of things Prashant Kishore raised, if the youth is not enamored by Tejasvi's promises, maybe loud promises, it shows that somewhere down the line, people are continue to have Modi as their hero worship Modi, and it is not on the
Yeah.
not on the lines of knowing that Modi has very little to do with democratic values. So the impression is that are we living in a age where cult continues to be, because it's a Modi cult which continues to impress people and even young people.
This 10,000 rupees, this 10,000 rupees dole out overshadowed everything. But I think Prime Minister in few rallies did mention that when Pakistan was bombed, Congress was not happy. Congress was not happy. So the Congress family was worried. So when India was
Yeah.
attacking Pakistan, Congress family was worried. So, but
That
this
was one mention.
10,000, but 10,000 rupees was overshadowed everything.
Yeah. No, but I do want to ask you this, right? So whether if we look right now at what the RJD is at 59, maybe it'll close at about 60, not very far from the GDU's performance. Um, is this performance to be attributed to Tejasvi Yadav, or is it the legacy of Lalu Prasad Yadav that is still alive? That's one question. Second question is, one of you, I think Manish ji mentioned that BJP doesn't have any local faces in Bihar, but my argument to that is, if with the prime minister performing in an election in this manner, do they even need a local face? Because as long as you have the prime minister coming in for campaigns, they seem to be doing just fine. So at the end of the day, does the BJP even need those local faces? Because the power of the campaign of Narendra Modi is just bigger than anything else that can be rustled up on the ground. Manvendra?
True. Faye, after 2019, BJP top brass had a change of strategy that they don't want regional satraps. So in Rajasthan, you have Bhajan Lal Sharma, then you have Naib Singh Saini in Haryana. So you have all these people who are not widely known, even in their states. So that's a change of strategy that only Modi cult has to prevail. And we don't want original satraps, whoever they were, either they have been sidelined or they have become ministers in the central government. So that is the current thought process within the BJP, that only Modi cult has to be promoted. But these Ghuspetia and these narratives were in Jharkhand also, Faye. And BJP was so aggressive in Jharkhand, talking about Bangladeshi Ghuspetia marrying tribal women, girls, grabbing their land. It did not work there in Jharkhand. It worked in Bihar. So we don't have to attribute this verdict to the BJP narrative on Ghuspetia. It is of zero value. This mandate is for Nitish Kumar, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is just you can say, in a supporting role. So people have voted for Nitish Kumar because they are contesting 101 each seats. So, and BJP has a very dedicated cadre base, and they are urban-based political. They're very mostly in urban areas. So their voters are very aggressive. So that is translating into 80% strike rate. But overall, BJP is also benefiting from Nitish Kumar image. People are voting for Nitish Kumar for his welfareism. It is a mandate for welfareism, not for Ghuspetia and all those narratives.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manvedraji, do you agree this is a mandate for welfareism?
Obviously. And he had been doing from 2005 onwards. Law and order improvement in the first 5 years, age 5 years. Then series after series, dole outs for women, be it cycle as you mentioned in the beginning, be it cycle or reservation in the urban local bodies, then reservation in security forces, then this 10,000 rupees, then provision of liquor. Although on the ground it is not so successful, but still women feel that it is better than having free sale of the liquor. So obviously that is helping, and this 10,000 was definitely, and that too when election is happening, he gave 10,000 cash in every account. So that has helped definitely. And obviously
But
BJP on its own cannot win because the upper caste vote is hardly 10-11%. So he has to rely, BJP has to rely on JDU. That is given. But obviously BJP wants to have its own chief minister every state. So they would definitely like to have this time.
at the risk of the Delhi Darbar getting affected by that.
They made BJP might try that Nitish shifts to Delhi with a big portfolio.
Oh, where
BJP
he can
might
be made redundant because in Delhi, though, no minister has any. Okay,
so
okay.
BJP might try to
That
convince
will
him.
that will be the end of JDU in Bihar. That means.
So,
One thing I would like to understand, Faye, is that how is it that this narrative of Jungle Raj continue to impress people, because the fact remains that there is Jungle Raj in Bihar always, whether it was in the Congress days or in Lalu's days, or how much there may be difference of degree. Even now, these two sensational murders, the Mokama one and the one in Patna, in which they went about on a killing spree, went into the hospital and walked out of it, and nobody has been arrested so far. What does it reflect? That Jungle Raj continues to be there. But how is it that impressed people?
There is one difference, sir, that
Gee.
media is not calling the lawlessness of today's time a jungle raj. So, media of today, mainstream media, is not
So that is
highlighting.
media management. That is media management.
Yes, Nitish Kumar is a master in media management. He mastered the art of media management long before the BJP mastered. So
Okay.
in Patna media, nobody can be so critical about Nitish Kumar government. So
Okay.
the
Okay.
incidents that you have talked about are very rampant in Bihar in these days, and the crimes are going up, and that's a big
Going.
challenge for Nitish Kumar in the next tenure that he has to control. Somehow the administration is getting lax. That CM is not as acutely monitoring the things as he was in the first two terms.
okay, so
But if
on
media
this
is
note,
in his pocket,
I
media
have
in
to
his
interrupt
pocket,
you
they will not be
again.
reported. Sorry.
Uh, it seems like the JDU's numbers right now are surging ahead of the BJP. Now, I mean, we've
Yes.
obviously left the opposition. We're not in the contest anymore. The gap is too wide. This is now a
This is the Nitish
landslide.
mandate.
Yeah,
This is
so
the
it is
Nitish
now,
mandate.
we're looking at 160 for the NDA versus an 80 for the Mahagathbandhan. So let's look at the NDA particularly. The JDU now leading in 75 seats and the BJP leading in 70 seats, 70.
Nice.
This actually,
Ah,
yeah. So Nitish Kumar's party has moved ahead of the BJP, putting him comfortably now, not only as chief minister, but also slightly more, little more elbow power he's going to bring to that coalition. How
no,
does
now
this
that, but
change?
the 70 and 75 is not such a big gap. There's so much still left.
Okay, so you think there's still some time left and that gap might actually, but let's assume
That,
hypothetically the gap remains and it widens a little
yeah,
bit and it gives Nitish Kumar that edge. This is particularly Nitish Kumar's victory then.
that's
This
right.
is the Nitish Kumar victory, no doubt. JDU above 50 seats will shut any scope for the BJP to do any kind of machinations on the CM post. JDU above
Yeah.
50 seats, The question is locked. Nobody else can be the CM. Only Nitish Kumar would be there.
And Nitish would any day prefer to remain CM rather than getting a berth in the Delhi cabinet, which means nothing.
No scope. He will never do that. He
Yeah.
even there was speculation that he would be made Vice President of India. He would never move out of Patna.
Yeah.
Only he can move out,
True.
of course, if he becomes Prime Minister.
Well, Vendraji, what is your view on this? And as I'm looking at the yes, what Sharad Pradhan is saying is correct in the sense that we have time still. The gap might close, and now we are talking about the gap between two coalition partners. We're not even talking about the opposition. But how much power and encouragement does this give Nitish Kumar at the table while he negotiates now? He's going to be a happy man today. Well, let me bring in one second. Let me bring in Aarti Gerard, a very senior journalist. I'm so glad she had time to join us today. Ms. Gerard, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Faye, for inviting me.
Look at the numbers. So interesting. I mean, the Mahagathbandhan is getting wiped at this point. Nitish Kumar is mopping the floor with them. The Congress's display has been abysmal. 16 leads as of now, 59 for the RJD. That number, that tally has not moved in a while. It's just stayed there. On the other side, within the Mahagathbandhan, within the NDA, on this very wide margin, we have the JDU now overtaking the BJP. 76 leads, the BJP is at 69. Uh, Aarti Gerard, what will this mean for the negotiations in the back room, if any, between Nitish Kumar and the BJP? Is he going to be slightly like standing taller today? Is this his victory?
Absolutely. I think there is no question about it. And, it was very interesting through as the campaign proceeded, how things unfolded. The BJP started off by saying that that we're fighting under the leadership of Nitish Kumar, but we will decide the CM after the election. They basically tried to sideline Nitish Kumar. And if you notice, this is the first time in Bihar that the Prime Minister has not campaigned with Nitish Kumar. Otherwise, even in the Lok Sabha elections last year, he did hold a joint road show with Nitish Kumar, in Patna. But this time they kept Nitish Kumar on the sideline. But as the campaign progressed, I think the feedback from the ground was that firstly, there was a huge sympathy factor for Nitish Kumar because everybody, his support base realized that this was his last election. And I think there was a huge sympathy factor. Secondly, the Mahagathbandhan kept, sort of doing these pinpricks about how you have not announced your CM candidate. Why haven't you announced? So finally, the BJP actually had to say that, yes, Nitish Kumar will be our chief minister. There is no vacancy at the top and so on. So, gradually as the campaign progressed, Nitish Kumar became more and more visible as the force behind NDA. Earlier, he seemed to be invisible. The BJP was dominating. But clearly, Nitish Kumar, became much, much more visible. He was the dominant force. And, we started hearing about his loyal women base and his loyal EBC base and, so on and so forth. And, also 2020 was a very peculiar election because Chirag Paswan fought on his own. And he was directing his entire attack on Nitish Kumar through 2020. And the buzz at that time was that the BJP was encouraging him because they wanted to cut Nitish Kumar down to size because they wanted to be the senior partner in Bihar. Funnily enough, although they emerged with more seats than the JDU last time, but they ultimately were forced to make Nitish Kumar the chief minister because, the fact remains that the BJP has no leader who can actually lead a coalition. They had one leader a long time ago, Sushil Modi. Unfortunately, he passed away. But since then, they don't have a leader. And today, if these strengths hold and Nitish Kumar does emerge as a larger party than the BJP, and I will not be surprised if that happens because this time, mind you, again, look at the campaign. Chirag Paswan started out by attacking Nitish Kumar. Somewhere along the way, I think he was told to
Yeah.
shut up and, stop that attack on Nitish Kumar. So, I mean, there was nobody nobody in the NDA, no party in the NDA who was trying to pull Nitish Kumar down. And if he emerges as the single largest party in the NDA, or probably in the entire Bihar election, it just shows how strong he is as a leader. He has dominated the Bihar landscape for 20 years and continues to, even today at the age of 75, frail health, not so visible, not so,
Yeah.
verbal or anything, but he is the leader who leads Bihar. He is Bihar's face.
So, very interesting here then, the major sort of categories of voters we were looking at, whether it was the young people who form a large portion of that voting population, the women, so the Yuva Mahila vote that people were talking about, the various caste cuts that people were talking about. At the end of the day, Nitish Kumar's form of governance, whether Manishanand wanted to call it Jungle Raj that has been renamed something else, his form of governance is obviously something people believe in because we've had amazing turnouts. And normally, amazing turnouts means anti incumbency. But in this particular case, it's obviously turned out to be pro incumbent. Aarti ji?
Yeah, Faye, yes, conventional wisdom a long time ago was that a larger turnout meant anti-incumbency. But actually, since the Lok Sabha elections, if you've been noticing the trends in all the elections, Haryana, Maharashtra, wherever the turnout, and both these states saw very large turnout, but the vote was pro-incumbency. So I think that there is a change, and in fact, when I saw the voter turnout this time, and for Bihar, it's been absolutely historic. The BJP, I mean, 69% voter turnout in Bihar is like, something that has never happened in 75 years. When I saw those trends, I knew that the NDA was going to win because that has actually been the pattern over the last 1 year. So, yeah, and I think it's really an endorsement. I think the thing with Nitish Kumar is that, mind you, the caste that he represents is a really tiny percentage of Bihar's population. But, but that Sushasan Babu tag, despite all that has happened in the last 5 years, where actually Bihar has not seen very much development and it's really fallen back on all the, the human indices compared to the rest of the country, still that Sushasan Babu tag remains. It sticks to him. It's a bit like, Jungle Raj sticks to Lalu Yadav, although it's been many
Yes.
years, but Jungle Raj is just stuck to Lalu Yadav. So Sushasan Babu is stuck to Nitish. And Nitish's form of governance has been very benign. He's been in alliance with the BJP, but he has not let Hindutva really cross the border into Bihar and become, kind of like a dominant force. Yes, this time the BJP has tried to polarize elections in the past, but they have never succeeded. And even this time, they started out trying to polarize elections. They gave up. Ultimately, everybody came back to bread and butter issues of unemployment, healthcare, education, and so on. So, Nitish has managed. Although a whole young generation does not remember Jungle Raj, but their parents remember Jungle Raj. And their parents, and I think particularly for girls, they would have kind of told their girls that, look, those days were really bad and we don't
Yeah.
want to go back to those days. So it's possible that the youth decided that Nitish's benign form of government, with all these sort of welfare schemes and, so on, is much, much more preferable. Even though today the Mahagathbandhan is led by a younger face, the fact is that he's Lalu's son, and it's going to take Tejasvi a lot of hard work to erase that stain, that is attached to his name.
It's very interesting. In fact, Manish Anand, who was here a little while ago, said the Jungle Raj stories, which are now 20, 25 years old, have become part of folklore. They tell it to children, about, and it's all part truth, part legend at this point. So it's something that cannot be shaken off. Pratyush Rajan is joining us from PTI. Pratyush actually heads PTI's digital and data analysis. So he's also from Bihar, Pratyush.
Yes.
I'm finding these results actually fascinating, right? Because JDU now leading is 75. And if we consider that the JDU actually contested about 101 seats, so 75 out of 101 is a pretty banging track record.
Absolutely, absolutely right. As Aarti ji said, that the young voters, the young women voters, those who voted in 2020 elections, and now after 2020, 25 years, those women voters who were very young, now they are mothers, and they want the same situation what they have felt in last 20 years to be continued for their children as well. So that's why everything like it was anticipated for many people who were there in like tier two or tier three cities or villages in Bihar. So they want the status quo to be maintained, of course, and this is what we can see in numbers, and definitely I can say that uh, people who are there in Bihar, the voters, the women voters, the young voters, the senior citizens, everyone, they have had some kind of impact or influence through different political rallies. And I must say that Nitish Kumar has done a great work, both for face-to-face connection, person-to-person connection, and through their own social media handles as well. So the NDA partners have done really great work if you compare with other parties. Yes, you can say that Jan Suraaj also played his part, but they have a lot to work in Bihar as of now.
Pradeep, explain to me why Prashant Kishore did not work at all, because this would have been his strong suit, being able to communicate using digital media, social media, designing campaigns. He did a Padyatra where he walked like 3,000 kilometers. He went to every nukkad in Bihar. How was he not able to make a dent?
So that's a very unique case. If you are like if you have millions of followers or thousands and lakhs of followers on social media, and that doesn't mean you are going to be connected with the actual voters who have very smart people. I can say that. I mean, as we can talk about the numbers, like in 2019, Bihar had 6 crore mobile users. Now they have 7.25 crore mobile users. The data consumption was in Bihar per month consumption per social media users, mobile user was like 1.27 GB. Now it is like almost 1 GB every day. So that kind of consumption happening. So people are consuming every kind of news, every kind of information from everywhere, and now they are taking decision on the basis of the consumption they are doing. So it's not like that Jan Suraaj has great presence on social media. And they are posting their clips and their shorts and reels everywhere on all platforms. That doesn't mean, and they are getting all kind of views as well. But that doesn't mean that every views can be converted into the real votes when the voting happens. It doesn't matter because all the time, whenever a voter goes goes to voting booth, so many things are there in their mind. We all know that how law and order is important, how employment is important, how other things are important. So just because somebody has the great presence on social media, that doesn't mean that we can be converted into vote. That's for sure. And we have seen that many cases, like our prime minister and other people who are very active on social media. In that case, what happens if a candidate is there doing some rally? In person, there
Yes.
are 4,000 people are there. But if that party or that we have seen many times that that candidate is doing YouTube live or Facebook live of the same rally, of 60 or 70,000 people are connected in that live. Actual
Yeah.
people.
Okay. So let me actually broaden this question, because this actually started off when we started speaking this morning. There were a couple of our viewers who said, "Is the 10,000 rupee transfer into women's accounts so close to voting?" Some of those transfers were happening while the model code of conduct was already in place. Is that really an ethical thing to do? There were questions about vote chori that have not been answered. The SIR question is before the Supreme Court. Um, the opposition feels that they have a lot of institutions, including the EC, that's up against it. So, Sharad Pradhan, when we see a result that is sweeping in this fashion, 106 versus 79, do any
Yeah.
of these things matter anymore? Because the result is undeniable. Some done, then the
Absolutely.
way.
Yeah. This is the lesson that we are learning from this the trends that are visible now, and which also means that it is the perception which matters more than the ground reality, as this perception about Sushasan Babu, which is on ground, it is not true, because there's so much misgovernance in Bihar. It has always been there. As I said earlier, the difference only of degree. Law and order, we have seen over the recent past, during the election campaign only, major murders and broad daylight murders. Nothing, and nobody talks about, though, I can understand the Jungle Raj, yes, but 20 years old Jungle Raj continues to influence the minds of the people today. It also, of course, it could also be because that kind of Jungle Raj was probably unprecedented, and it is so deep rooted in the minds of the people who have been impacted by it, that they still believe that it is Tejasvi is identified with Jungle Raj, and that is must be the reason why Prime Minister and Amit Shah continue to harp on that. We used to always wonder, why are they talking about this Jungle Raj? Are they trying to say that even Nitish's Raj is Jungle Raj? Because fact is that law and order, the National Crime Record Bureau clearly depicts that in law and order has not been goody at all in Nitish Kumar's time also. But it is a perception, and even for that matter, I think this false falsehood of Ghuspatias, which they were trying to build, which did not work in Jharkhand, but it worked in Bihar. But fact remains that the SIR ended up with only 3 persons being identified by the election commission in the category of those Ghuspatias.
Let me bring in Pratyush. Pratyush, on the ground, was there an overwhelming sentiment of, we don't care if Nitish Kumar is called Paltu or he's going from one side to another, as long as we have Nitish Kumar and he's someone we prefer to trust? Do we still have Pratyush? Okay, there seems to be something wrong with that PTI connection. Arti Jaran, is that the sense that, even if Nitish Kumar is on this side or that side, as long as we have Nitish Kumar, we'll be happy with him?
It looks like it. I mean, honestly, the man, I am really amazed at, Nitish Kumar's ability to stay on top for 20 solid years in Bihar. And now, even in the autumn of his career, or maybe the winter of his career, he's still on top. So, I mean, clearly he's carved out a place for himself, among the people of Bihar. And, it's very difficult to dislodge him. He somehow in his own, whatever politics he's done, it doesn't matter. It's, they remember Nitish Kumar for his generosity in terms of welfare schemes, and his, unfortunately hasn't done very much for the empowerment of the backward caste, but he has certainly been very generous in terms of giving, welfare schemes and, money in their banks and so on. And I think that, when you're really at the bottom end of the socio-economic ladder, every 1,000 rupees you get really matters. I mean, clearly really matters. And he's carved out a place for himself in Bihar. Doesn't matter which side he's on.
I mean, this is a really interesting sort of, structure to have built in. Pratyush, the question I was asking you before you got disconnected is that, has Nitish Kumar over 20 years kept himself evergreen to a point where his audience believes, or his voter believes, that we don't care if he's shifting sides as long as we have Nitish?
Yeah, absolutely. But Faye, let me give you very interesting data as of now. I can see on my screen, Election Commission data, that the party-wise vote share till now BJP is 22.8% and RJD is 22.6%. So that was the party share is there. So yes, back to your question. Yes, as I said that Nitish Kumar's policy and their its magical connect with the voters, especially the women voters in the state, it has actually played a very important role. And you can say that uh, the party in Bihar, I can say in my experience that that party is not very active on social media, but they are very active in person connection through their policies, through their implementation of their policies, because the implementation part is very important. If a government has a policy, that should reach out to the last person in the state, so that he made sure that that should happen every time whenever he brings something in the government. And this was, I think this was the best advantage he always had and he has in this election as well. So it's like, I can say that it's like one. It's looking like one man show, because last, if you compare the number of seats they won in last elections, and now whatever the trend says as of now, is like it's a huge up for them. Like it's, I mean, I can see the election commission website is 71 as of now on for JDU. It was I think 43 or something in last election. So it's a huge upper hand for Nitish Kumar. Yes.
Let's discuss for a second Tejasvi Yadav and what this, where this election actually takes him. Adi Jarad, has Tejasvi Yadav sort of built a platform on which he can build the future of his political career? Because he's managed to, for his party at least, delivered some numbers. They're looking currently at about 59-60 for the RJD. This was a campaign his father was completely sat out. There was the ghost, the legacy, the stories, but Lalu Yadav was not personally present in the campaign. It was Tejasvi's campaign. Do you think this makes him stronger or weaker after this result?
Hey, I'm not really sure. See, he's done worse this time than he did last time. The fact remains that RJD, so far, it looks like the RJD is going to come back with less seats this time than they did last time. Last time, he really created a storm, as this young leader who was talking about jobs and, so on and so forth. This time, he doesn't seem to have generated that kind of a storm. Um, Also, he did two, three things this time, which is, and we have to see how this works out. One is he tried to reach out to EBC communities, and therefore go beyond the traditional MY base of the RJD, which is why he included, the VIP party and so on. As so far as I can make out, the VIP party has not done very well. So that outreach does not seem to have worked out for the RJD, for Tejasvi, number one. Number two, there seems to be a lot of trouble within the Yadav family. I mean, the elder brother has walked out. One of the sisters was was critical of Tejasvi, through the campaign. The other sister, who is an MP in the Lok Sabha, Misa, she's also been very quiet, not saying anything either in favor of or against. So, I will have to see how the family dynamics play out, when the final numbers come in, and, where Tejasvi and the RJD stand, in terms of the numbers. Um, so I think that his future is a bit of a question mark on it. And, clearly he will have to put in a lot of hard work and somehow sort out, the troubles in his family before he can really emerge as, as the other pole in Bihar, or as the leader of Bihar. And remember, he's being challenged by Prashant Kishore. Yes, this time Jan Suraaj did not do well and so on. But, if Jan Suraaj carries on the way it has for the last 2 years, maybe Prashant Kishore will make a difference the next time around. And that will be a challenge for Tejasvi, because that means that there is a third force. And, I mean, I don't know. I think Bihar is heading for a period of turmoil because, even though the NDA will form the government and Nitish Kumar is most likely going to be the chief minister,
Yes.
one doesn't know the status of his health. There is a question mark. There are questions. He hasn't been visible. Whenever he's come out in public, not he's not really been able to. He's not been very cogent and coherent. So I mean, I don't know how long he will last as CM. And if something, God forbid, something happens to him, then what happens? I think, Bihar will be plunged into turmoil. There will be turbulence in Bihar. So one has to wait and see, when this turbulence happens, how it settles down. Obviously, the BJP is hoping, is waiting for that to happen so that they can cannibalize the JDU and,
Yeah.
make itself the dominant
Yeah,
force.
sort of
But
absorb it
but
into
portions of the JDU may not want to go with the BJP. They may prefer to go with RJD, or they may try to start their own party. I don't know. But I think Bihar is heading into a period of turmoil, and we don't know how it's going to pan out, because the post Nitish Kumar phase is going to be very interesting.
Yes, because Atish, the interesting thing about Nitish Kumar, when you said he's kept himself relevant and powerful for 20 odd years, he's also not really built a second line.
No, at all.
And
And at one
he's
point,
not built a dynasty, yes.
no. And at one point, there was some talk that his son would enter politics. You remember? And in fact, a section of the JDU was pushing for his son to enter politics. But either Nitish told his son to stay away, or the son decided politics was not for him, because Nitish has kept his son away from politics all these years. So yeah, he apart from dynasty, or an heir that way, he hasn't created a second run of leadership. So one doesn't know what the future of the JDU would be. Were Nitish Kumar to walk into the sunset. So I think, really
So
at this
do
point
you
of
think
time,
there's room here for Samrat Chaudhary of the BJP at some point during the course of this term?
I don't know. I don't know whether Samrat Chaudhary has that, either the charisma or that political acumen, the charisma of Lalu, the political acumen of Nitish Kumar. I don't know whether he has either of those two talents. And also remember, Samrat Chaudhary would have to follow the diktats of the BJP. And, given the kind of numbers we're seeing right now, with the BJP falling behind JDU, the BJP has been stuck at between, 60 and 70 seats for the last 20 years. It just hasn't been able to grow in Bihar. So, even if Samrat Chaudhary is made chief minister, suppose something would happen to Nitish, whether he'll be able to actually expand the BJP and make it the dominant force or not is highly questionable. You know, Caste politics is very, very much, embedded in Bihar. And the BJP, even though they've got Samrat Chaudhary, the BJP in the minds of Biharis represents upper caste people. And, upper castes, like the Yadavs, for most other communities, they are seen as oppressors, as exploiters, as aggressors.
Well, we have one more. We have Asim joining us back from PTI right now. PTI, as we can see, the newsroom is really buzzing behind him. Asim, can you bring in any insights on the numbers that we're seeing?
I would like to, emphasize on certain interesting trends that are coming in.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
uh,
yes.
See, you can gauge from the performance of the Mahagadbandhan that they've had a dismal performance for sure, and it can be seen in the numbers. Shakil Ahmad Khan, the CLP of Congress, is trailing right now, and the Congress's Bihar president Rajesh Ram is also trailing. So it reflects that how poorly they have done. And one aspect that that is not being talked about is also the performance of the left. Left had done much better than expectations last time, but this time round they are also having a very poor performance. They are leading around five seats combined together. So that is another letdown for them. Of course, the RJD would have also expected to do much better, because if the Mahagathbandhan had to come anywhere close to forming a government, they had to be above 80, where obviously RJD right now, in fact, it has fallen behind below 50 right now. It's 49, what the trends are showing. So it's been a dismal performance for them and be very disappointing for them. But yes, as RTG rightly pointed out, that the BJP would be a little concerned about the fact that they have not been able to grow as much as they would have wanted. And right now, if these trends hold and JDU emerges as the single largest party, it would be a matter of concern for them, because then again, Nitish Kumar calls the shots, and as his when I was traveling, as his supporters keep on saying that Bihar mein bahar hai, Nitish Kumar hai. So I think that stays, that sticks on, and it has remained the same for the last 20 years, and I think for another few years he's around, very much around, and this election has been about Nitish Kumar.
I have been asking other guests also, but it was really a PTI interview that brought this forward. Now, Prashant Kishore saying Arsha Farsh, which means that I will either wind up in the sky or on the ground. He's wound up on the ground. There's no doubt about it. What happens to him now, Asim, in your opinion?
See, the going will be very tough for him, because of the kind of claims that he has been making in the PTI interview. Elsewhere also, he's repeatedly said that JDU, if it is more than 25 seats, I will leave politics. Those kinds of statements have been proved to be his undoing. Even it started from him claiming big numbers for the NDA in the Lok Sabha poll. So now he's got it wrong many times. So it hits his image of being a master strategist, and also at predicting elections. But more than that, in this election, since he was creating a lot of buzz. But as I had said earlier, this was hit by the fact that because he himself built this aura around him, that he will take on the big wigs of Bihar, he'll fight Tejasvi on his home turf. He built this aura around himself, and then suddenly he announced that I am not fighting because I'm needed elsewhere. But those sorts of arguments are good for an academic discussion, but among the people, you want a new leader coming in to show his mettle and take on the big wigs. Like, for example, what Arvind Kejriwal did in Delhi. He took on Sheila Dikshit. He did not care whether he was losing. He even took on Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in the Lok Sabha election from Varanasi. So he showed that he's up for a big fight, which Prashant Kishore announced in that PTI interview, that I will not contest and I will support other parties. So that did not go down well among the people, despite the fact that he was gaining a lot of traction. Till that point, it seemed as if he could hold the decisive he could be the decisive factor in the elections, but it doesn't seem so. He's getting very poor numbers. His vote percentage is as low as sometimes even BSP has gotten that much. So it's been a dismal performance, and the road ahead looks very difficult for him from here on.
Yeah, the road ahead for Prashant. I just want to show you these numbers, right? So Prashant Kishore's Jan Suraaj contested over 200 seats and are leading in 3 out of 200. Just in terms of ROI of that investment of time and money, this is going to be a pretty poor turnout for him. Aarti ji, what do you think of Prashant Kishore?
Well, frankly, I thought that he was overestimated. I really did not expect him to sort of be as effective as he was claiming he would be. However, I will say this for Prashant Kishore, that he may have been a catalyst to something. Firstly, he was the one who was really focused on the issues that ultimately became the main talking points in the campaign, which is, the lack of jobs and, the poor health infrastructure, the broken education infrastructure. So he actually focused on the issues. He brought the focus on those issues. Otherwise the BJP was going somewhere else. The JDU didn't seem to, have much to say. RJD was also kind of, flip-flopping on what exactly it wanted to pinpoint. So I think in that sense, he was some kind of a capitalist. But, to think that in a state like Bihar, this Bihar is not Delhi. Arvind Kejriwal managed to capture the imagination of Delhi because at the end of the day, Delhi is a city. It's not a huge state, with, a history of caste legacy. Remember, Delhi is a city of migrants, of immigrants, people who come from all over. And there is no kind of regional feeling or caste feeling in Delhi. So, that anti-corruption movement that, Arvind Kejriwal and Anna Hazare led, I think did strike a chord. And then his subsequent narrative of taking politics back to the people. People in Delhi were pretty fed up of, the Congress had done 3 terms, although Sheila Dixit was a much admired lady. But I think people were there was a fatigue factor with the Congress. And the BJP had done nothing in 15 years to endear themselves, to make any kind of a base for themselves in Delhi. So, Arvind Kejriwal came in like a breath of fresh air. But remember, Bihar is a state, a much larger population with historic, caste divisions, caste, loyalties. And for a new person like Prashant Kishore to think that he can smash through that established caste paradigm in Bihar, I think was really, he was really asking for the moon. So,
the reason why I thought that was really strange was because here is a man who has strategized countless elections for parties and politicians who have won. He understands caste dynamics. He understands voting population. He understands all of these things.
But he doesn't have an organization day. He was strategizing for parties that had boots on the ground, that had an organizational network. What was his organization? I mean, just because he did a padyatra for 2 years and generated crowds and, brought people out of their homes and all, does not mean that those crowds were going to translate into votes. On voting day, did he have the organization to carry, people to the booth and ensure that they voted for him? He didn't. So, if at all he wants to have a political career in Bihar, if at all he wants to remain relevant in Bihar, the next 5 years, he has to build that organization network, which for the next election. And let me tell you, that's a pretty tough task. You can see what has happened to the Congress, which once upon a time had an organizational network. But as the organizational network is, crumbling in state after state, the Congress is not being able to rebuild that organizational network. So it requires a particular skill, of being able to handle the nuts and bolts of organizational management. And I don't know whether Prashant Kishore has that. He's a great backroom boy, great strategist. But
let me take that same question to Asim also. Asim, the Congress lacking really feet on the ground, lacking strategy on the ground. Rahul Gandhi bringing in an observer who was not from Bihar and perhaps did not understand Bihar as could have been possible if he had brought in a different advisor. Did the Congress fail on many counts? Because I'm looking at their numbers right now, they're at 13.
Well,
Sorry, it's dropped further. It's at 7.
Exactly.
Congress is
No,
at
you're
7. Oh my lord. Yeah.
no. I'll just.
There's a happening.
That's what I said. That their CLP, their the party chief of Bihar is trailing right now and trailing big time. So, no, he could. He see obviously in the Congress organization, the in charge is always from another state. So that was not the issue. But yes, you're right that his connect with the leaders, his understanding obviously is under question, and obviously the ticket distribution has also not been the best. But the most important thing that struck me was that Congress having such a low cadre presence on the ground. I don't know from where do they get that kind of courage to dig in their heels and say that we'll
Demand the
fight
kind of
60 seats,
Yeah.
we'll fight 65,
Yeah.
we'll fight 70 seats. which is very bizarre, because in this sort of an election where it was very visible to everyone that if Mahagathbandhan was to put up a fight, it had to be on RJD's shoulders. It had to be Tejasvi Yadav leading from the front. So they did take a lot of time, and it was extremely bad optics at the worst time possible, when the elections were just round the corner. Everyone, the BJP NDA had already finalized their seat strategy, and they could not finalize and announce announce a sharing deal, which I think did hamper their chances. Though I don't agree with a lot of people are saying that probably Tejasvi could have been announced as CM candidate much earlier. I don't agree with that, because see, in hindsight you can say that, but that announcement obviously at the peak of the election did help the Mahagathbandhan also. The timing, it can be debated. Now that they've lost, you can say that it was late, but still but obviously the seat sharing was it was in a mess. Two interesting aspects that I would like to point out from the numbers is that are not being talked about, is that the Chirag Paswan's party is now leading on 20 seats. So obviously they've also did their bit. He fought tooth and nail for the seats that he wanted, but he has also delivered. So but the point I'm making is that if you're driving a hard bargain, one should have the wherewithal to at least show that kind of a fight, if not win, but at least show that kind of a fight, which is not being visible with the Congress, because the Congress is losing badly in a number of seats. Second interesting aspect that I wanted to point out to you is that Tej Pratap Yadav is coming fourth right now in Mahua. He's coming fourth, so that's another interesting thing.
Very, very interesting numbers. Also, the gap between the winner and the loser is becoming wider. The latest numbers are telling us that the NDA is close to 185, and the Mahagathbandhan is at 54. So a lot of the it's more than a landslide at this point. It's a complete hammering. The NDA has wiped the floor with the Mahagathbandhan. Atija.
Absolutely. Incredible.
It's an
Incredible. But
incredible.
when you have the kind of turnout that you saw in Bihar, I'm not surprised that it's such a landslide. It happened in Maharashtra. Again, another state where, the turnout jumped by some 7% or something like that. And look at what happened to the opposition. It practically vanished from the landscape because, the NDA had done
Yeah.
so well, incredibly well. So I'm really not surprised at the numbers so far. Again, another interesting thing about Bihar traditionally has been that the vote share margins have been very narrow. The difference between the victor and the runner-up has always been very narrow because the turnout has been so low. But in this scenario, where the turnout has been so high, I expect the difference in the vote share of the winner and the runner-up to be much larger than it has
Okay.
been traditionally, and that will be another significant difference in this election, where people may actually win by 5,000 votes and 10,000 votes, which is very unusual for Bihar.
Yes,
We
just
keep. Yeah.
sorry,
Yes,
just to
Nazim,
add to
go ahead.
that, looking at the numbers, RTG is right, because just on the EC website, there are just 3 or 4 rounds of counting that has been done, but already the NDA candidates are leading by 5,000, 7,000 right now. So you can always imagine that after 25 rounds, 20 rounds, what
Yeah.
that number would be.
Yeah.
So it could
Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
astronomically high.
Yeah, yeah. And that is really, so this is an election of many firsts, and a very interesting election. And for me, really, the most interesting thing is that Nitish Kumar still remains on top in Bihar after 25 years, despite a very lackluster tenure the last 5-7 years and all the politics that he was doing, Paltu Kumar here, there, everywhere. But he still remains on top in Bihar. And I think for the BJP, Although yes, it's great that the NDA is coming to power, and that's very big. But if the JDU actually surges ahead of the BJP, and the BJP kind of remains stuck at around 60, 65, 70, I think this would be a cause of concern. So it would be a kind of bittersweet victory. But anyway, let's wait for the final numbers before we jump to any conclusion. So only three rounds of counting,
The
so
gap
lots
is
more yet to
so
go.
the gap is so wide now that it can only get wider. I can't imagine how the final numbers would be different from what we're looking at.
On the
181 to 58.
uh,
Yes, Asi.
Sorry, yeah, just wanted to make a point that on the ground, this was very visible that, Nitish, the support for Nitish Kumar, from the outside, you may think that, there are these questions about his health and, BJP dominating him. But as I had mentioned earlier, also BJP also read this very well. They earlier on their strategy was the same as in different elections, very aggressive, very loud. But then they realized that the best way right now, they sense the mood much better than the other parties, and they centered the campaign around Nitish Kumar, and his good governance and his support to women, and the scheme coming in, the Das Hazari as it was being called on the ground. Now that has also played a big role. So BJP shifted the campaign focus around Nitish Kumar, which has seemed to help them as well as the alliance.
I mean, this for me right now seems completely fascinating. But is it a victory of the Das Hazari, Asim, or is it a victory of Nitish Kumar's sort of quiet governance, almost benign governance?
See, I can't say, you can't just list one factor. Das Hazari can't be the only factor, but obviously it is one of the most important factors, because it did give them the boost. The numbers that we are seeing, these astronomical numbers that we are seeing right now, could be because of that. But Nitish Kumar, his goodwill was never dented. He was always equated with good governance. No one wanted to criticize Nitish Kumar. Even I met a lot of Yadav voters who would not vote for Nitish Kumar, who were hardcore RJD supporters. They also did not outrightly criticize Nitish Kumar. They said that he's had his day under the sun, and so that's how they would explain to people. And if you look at the Mahagathbandhan campaign, well, they got this part right, that they were not overtly critical of Nitish Kumar, because they realized that this could hamper their chances.
In fact,
You
Faye,
know,
I think
yes,
that
yes.
is one big mistake that Prashant Kishore made. Because Prashant Kishore, through his entire campaign, was going hammer and tongs at Nitish Kumar, singling him out by name. The RJD started out, mocking, asking, raising questions about his health and so on. But I think they very quickly realized that on the ground, this was working against them, because people in Bihar actually had sympathy for Nitish. I mean, if at all he was not in good health, well, it was a cause for sympathy. It was a cause to support him and, give him the backing that he needed. So the RJD withdrew from that line. But Prashant kept on right till the end. And I think that this may have also harmed him, apart from all the other weaknesses that he had. This may have also harmed him.
That is absolutely correct. In a way, his campaign was too negative. He was criticizing JDU, he was criticizing the BJP daily, he was criticizing Tejasvi Yadav daily. So that way, his campaign proved to be a bit negative. While on the other hand, Nitish Kumar's campaign was centered around welfareism, his schemes. And obviously BJP was bringing in the Jungle Raj bit, which obviously those who are not RJD supporters and are against the RJD, they sort of feel that strongly for this kind of sentiment of Jungle Raj, and also that worked in their favor. Mahagathbandhan's campaign was not that bad, but the problem was that they started off too late, and also apart from the RJD, they did not have boots on the ground. From Congress to, and in fact, another disappointing performance for the Mahagathbandhan has been VIP. They
Very
thought
bad.
that bringing in VIP would get them the votes of the Nishad community, but that has not happened. And traditionally that vote bank has always been with the BJP. So the Mahagathbandhan argument was that now, since
Yeah.
Mukesh Saini has been declared the deputy CM, the community would shift to the Mahagathbandhan, but that has hardly happened. VIP has been completely wiped out in most of the areas, and he again, like the Congress, he was bargaining hard. He was talking about 30 seats, 35 seats, when around when he's got around 14, and he's hardly able to win even one. So obviously that has again been pulled the
So,
Mahagathbandhan
so
down.
let me just give you an
Faye,
update on the
Faye,
numbers.
I'm sorry, Faye, I have to leave. So
Okay, so
thank you very much for having me. Yeah,
before you leave,
thank you
Aarti
very much.
Jarak, the updated numbers are 190 to 50. So we're actually
Incredible.
closing in on 200 at this point. It's quite a stark. That gap has really
Quite.
grown. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Aarti Jarak. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Uh, Asim, before we seat a couple of your colleagues as well, the question that I did want to ask you, because I know that you look specifically at the Congress and the opposition, there was a lot of bickering in terms of the Mahagathbandhan did not get its strategy together until the very end. Initially, we thought, the Congress announced that they would be fighting separately from the RJD, that in some places they would actually have friendly fights, where their candidates would go up against each other. Then we found out that they were going to contest together. Did this perhaps confuse the whatever boots they did have on the ground as to who is my friend and who is my enemy, and how did we prepare on the booth level, constituency level?
Most definitely, I think it was just inexplicable that they could not get their act together, and especially when they did not have the cadres. And again, as I said, I'm not pointing towards the two backroom boys as being the fall guys, but yes, since they were handling everything and they were given a free hand by their respective parties, like Sanjay Yadav for the RJD and Krishna Lavaru for the Congress, respectively. But they did err in the fact that they were very strong headed in the number of seats that they want and how they want to contest this election, not taking everyone along. In fact, that is the complaint among the in hushed tones the RJD cadre will also talk about it, that how Sanjay Yadav was calling all the shots. So that it looks good when the party does well. But obviously, when the party has not done well, obviously these two would be the ones, a lot of people will be speaking about within the two parties. I'm sure they'll be going after them. But yes, the two parties, the two main allies did a great disservice to their cause by not coming together at a time when it was needed much earlier than they should have struck the seats deal. And in fact, it required intervention from CPI-ML to get them together. And so obviously the fence sitters, the voters were not impressed by what they saw. And the fact remains that this election is about Nitish Kumar, and there being no alternative to him. So the public was convinced, and especially then that these add the 10,000 to it, and you get the result that we are seeing right now on the screen.
Yeah, it's really fascinating result we're seeing on the screen. And like you said, right? So the Congress, lacking its structure on the ground and lacking its sort of cadre on the ground, still demanding to fight the number of seats that it wanted to fight, then go ahead and fighting those seats and turning out with such a poor outcome. What Where does this leave Congress with the rest of its allies? If we look at it slightly now, if let's assume that this is the gap that we're looking at and it's not going to get smaller, with these numbers, how does this affect the Congress's ability to deal with the rest of the allies within the India bloc on a national level?
Obviously it hurts them very badly, especially with looking ahead. There are elections coming next year in so many important states, and so it shows them in poor light. But they have to pick up their game. I think see, the thing with the BJP and other parties that do consistently well in elections is that they immediately look ahead. So Kerala is something that Congress needs to look at. They can't afford to lose Kerala. There's a left government there for the last 10 years, and if they are unable to make inroads there, if they are unable to form a government there, the future would look very no, would look very dim for them. So they have to look ahead. And as you pointed out, see, the infighting in the Kerala unit is for everyone to see. So they have to get their act together much in advance. But they could not do it in Bihar. There was in Bihar itself, there was a lot of infighting. If you ask the Congress cadres, there were different factions, and not many were happy when Rajesh Ram was made the president. Obviously, Akhilesh Prasad Singh, the previous president, has his lobby. So there was a lot of conflict within the party there also. So not having cadres on the ground, there being factionalism in state units. These are things that have been there for a long time. As I said, that this is a repeat of what had happened, and it's not like this is the first time that they are having a bad performance in Bihar. Last time round, also the Congress was the factor that they could not form a government. Their strike rate was extremely low. So the corrective measures should have been taken, which obviously haven't been taken. So the results are showing.
Yeah, Priyanka Tikku joins us as well from the PTI office. Priyanka, thank you so much for joining us. Just checking to
Thanks,
see.
Faye, for having me. Thank you.
A pleasure to have you, Priyanka. You were the one who, in fact, interviewed Prashant Kishore when he made those big claims, Arsh ya Farsh, and then he went on to say that if he doesn't do reasonably well in this election, he will just step away from politics altogether. Prashant Kishore has always been a man to make sort of big announcements and big declarations, but where does that leave him now with the numbers that you're looking at?
Yes, first of all, yes, he did that actually. Yeah, and that's a very $1 million question now, Faye. If you really see that, he said during the interview to PTI, and in fact, we were the ones who broke this, that he won't be contesting, which obviously did not go well for him now, looking at entire statistics and data. Having said that, it leaves a big question mark on his political future. The fact that he talked about Arsh and Farsh, but the fact is that how can a strategist who has done several winning campaigns of Mr. Modi, Mr. Nitish Kumar, then Mamata Banerjee, how did he get it so wrong? Because see, to be on Arsh, that is to touch the sky, you really need to have that kind of wave. Where was the wave?
Yeah.
How did it kind of totally misjudge the scenario? Let's give it to him that he was able to raise very valid questions, whether it was about the education level in Bihar or whether it was about prohibition and thereby losing revenue, the state losing revenue. Right, fine, all that. But the pulse, could he not kind of, it's a big question mark, not only as a politician, now as a strategist also. And also to make a statement like that, he staked the entire political career, saying that if JDU gets more than 25 seats, he's gonna quit politics. So it's a $1 million question. What is he going to do now? Because all of us thought, we all thought that all the journalists, all these political commentators, that he's very young and he is so many years to go, and even if he is not able to get good chunk of seats, he will be able to make a dent and he will be able to get some substantial vote base, which is totally not there. And then he would have been in next election a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But looking at data now, it's like really. I understand his compulsions, Faye, because when I was talking, it was midnight interview actually, because I could see that man was exhausted, But he just in private he was telling me it's just one man army kind of a thing, He had to look at the strategy, he had to choose the candidates, he had to look the finances, and on top of it, he had to campaign. So it was not easy as it is, but to get it wrong, also the sense, I think, that's something which really needs introspection after election result is out.
Varun Jha joins us from the PTI office as well. Buzzing newsroom behind you, Varun. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Very interestingly, we started off with the BJP looking stronger than the JDU. JDU has moved ahead ever so slightly, but between the two of them, the NDA currently leading in 191 seats, and the Mahagarbandhan at 49, 37 of which is coming from RJD. So there's a massive gap here. This is now a clobbering, it's not just a landslide. Uh, a very clear victory for Nitish Kumar's policies and promises. Varun?
Yeah, good morning, Faye. Yeah, clearly, I think it's a big win for Nitish Kumar, no doubt. So as we are talking, it seems that for winning Bihar, you have to have Nitish Kumar. There is no one else. In fact, the opposition party also, when they won last time, so it was Nitish was with them. So I think it's a victory for Nitish. There were many talks about his health, everything, but seems he also ended up getting some sympathy vote. People thinking, okay, this may be his last election, so let's go out and vote. But more than it is, I think personally, I think it's also a victory of his schemes, all the freebies or what they call welfareism. I think that has played a big role here. I think just to do this Jivika thing, 10,000 rupees, and then women voters. One more, I think Nitish is probably the only leader in the entire country who created this vote bank of women vote bank. So that has played a key role. And here, one more thing went in his favor. That is about the prohibition thing. So PK, which almost finished, so he openly took a stand against prohibition. Even the Mahagathbandhan, they talked about that they will review this prohibition. And prohibition has been a key factor in, besides the welfare schemes, for the attracting of women voters. I think that is important factor here.
So, I want to understand from you, Barun, what do you think will happen to Tejasvi at this point? Are these numbers that he can use as a platform to build his political career? Because his father largely stepped back from this campaign. You know, the idea of Lalu Prasad Yadav was alive, but it was not, he was not on the campaign trail. What will this result mean for Tejasvi?
I think this is a learning for him, big learning, because he has to actually move beyond Lalu Prasad Yadav. So, like, could not do much beyond what Lalu created, the MY vote bank, what they call Muslim and Yadavs. So, here again, he was focused on that. Tejasvi did not talk about women. He did not talk, although his manifesto talked about it, but so not so much about youth, the Palayan, what they call migration. So, all of that. So he has to build. I think maybe he has to take some learnings from Achilles in the neighboring state of UP, because Achilles has moved beyond Mulayam Yadav a lot. I think Tejasvi still needs to do something, go beyond Lalu, because whatever vote he's getting are basically built by his father. He has not done that. And actually, in fact, even in MY, the Muslim vote seems, going by the trend so far, OIC seems to have made a big impact. So even in Muslim dominated areas, BJP or JDU, they are winning.
Yeah, so that was going to be my question to you. The Muslim Yadav vote, has Tejasvi not managed to hold on to that, because that they sort of took for granted in every election? Is that no longer theirs to take for granted?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, the Muslim votes obviously had got split between wherever OSC fought, some 20 odd seats. So that he has not been able to retain. And then on Yadav vote also, many Yadav leaders who were previously with RJD, they have over the years moved to BJP or JDU. I think that has also, so since the Yadav votes go for at times for the leader who is contesting rather than the party. So I think there also Yadav vote has got split this time, big time.
Okay, and this is a question to both of you. I understand in the BJP office, the Likki Choka and the Jalebis are ready. They're going to, have a massive celebration, which we've seen the BJP do in its Delhi headquarters after every win. How important is this win for the BJP? Because a couple of interesting trends for the BJP were there was no local face. It was just the prime minister. The prime minister's ideas, his campaign, and he didn't share a stage with Nitish Kumar that much during the campaign either. But BJP, from what we're looking at, 80 leads, leading in 80 seats right now. It's a massive performance for the BJP. Varun first.
It means a lot for obviously here again, most probably in the evening, we'll see Prime Minister at BJP headquarters, which generally happens after every election they do. So for national level, it means, I think, big, because Bihar has been one state where BJP has not been doing so well. This time they have done relatively better, although obviously they still need Nitish. They can't do without him. And as you said, there was no local leader. PM was the main face. Although some people talked about Samrat Chaudhary to some extent, and he has got a good lead so far. So, but what works in their favor is their ground force, what they call Panna Pramukh level, starting from Panna Pramukh at the booth level. And this time, what they did, was the first for BJP, they always do this booth level campaign. Even PM talks to booth level workers. This time, there no ally partners are involved there. This time, all the ally partners were there. And Nitish, and besides Nitish, again, I think it was because of BJP that this Chirag Paswan got a big say, and he has done, I think, his strike rate is better than everyone else this time. So that way, BJP without a face, what they do, and they have done that in Haryana, they have done it in Rajasthan, even although in Madhya Pradesh they had a face in Shivraj Chauhan, but they changed the face in the end. So their groundwork works a lot, and it works more. Although, even Prashant Kishore had created a ground force here, RJD, but in BJP, in case of BJP, what works that since they are in power, both at center as well as state, so ground level workers are more enthused to work for the party. So that ground phase is the main change that BJP has brought in.
And when you asked Faye
yes,
that
Priyanka.
what it means for BJP, it means it's very significant given that next in 6 months we will be going to elections in Assam and West Bengal.
Yes.
So it's going
And
to
then
make a
Kerala.
lot of difference. The implications of this particular elections are going to have a bearing on these neighboring states in the eastern region. And West Bengal, where they have a very formidable political rival in Mamata Banerjee, I mean, it's a very good, and despite that controversy of SIR, EC being, partial, biased, all those narratives which were against them, they have been not only able to counter that, they have been also massive messaging that, okay, we are a force here. And when you talked about Tejasvi Faye, I would also like to, it is in that he is trailing in Raghopur. Now, the point is a party which in 2015, 2020 has been the single largest party is doing so badly. According to Election Commission data, they are only leading in 33 seats.
Yes.
So I think it will be not only the question mark on Tejasvi's future, how he's gonna change his strategy, how he's gonna, change. It's also, I think, some amount when I will again narrate a small anecdote. I was going to Hajipur from Patna during this campaign season, and I was asking this taxi driver. I was just obviously trying to take the feel from the ground what it is, and I asked him that what do you feel? He says, "Madam, it's 8 p.m. and you're going to Hajipur alone, right?" There was a time when even a man could not have gone after 7 o'clock, right? So that taxi driver was in early 30s way. The fact that those guys have not seen Jungle Raj meant nothing, right? He narrated the incident when Lalu's daughters got married and, brand new cars were taken out of showroom, right? That happened 2002, right? But then the fact is that these incidents are etched, and we can see that the data shows it very clearly that they really need to do something about this Jungle Raj legacy. They really need to address that.
This is very interesting because when you talked about the 30-year-old taxi driver, I was looking at the numbers of the voters. 22% of the people who voted in this election were between the ages of 18 and 29, which means that they were too young to remember a Lalu Yadav government. 53%, which means half of those people who voted were less than the age of 40. And so for their entire voting life, Lalu Yadav has not been in power, but still the idea of Jungle Raj, the fact that the BJP campaign also made it so visible by constantly repeating that concept. Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, in fact, this was one of the arguments taken by RJD that you are talking to people who have not seen it. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not going to kind of cut any eyes with them. It's like, they are not going to fall for this narrative of, in fact, all the 14 rallies of PM Modi during this campaign trail, he kept talking about Jungle Raj, and RJD kept, countering it by, okay, the first time voters, they don't have not seen it, but I think it is not about whether they have lived it through. Like, somebody who has not lived through Kashmir terrorism does not mean doesn't know about
It
terrorism,
doesn't have, yeah, or will not be
right?
moved by the history. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So all your families, your elders talking about it, and you can see those things. I think that made a lot of difference. And like you just mentioned, these data is clearly shows that
Mm.
has stayed there, in that narrative, in their family discussions. It has clearly stayed there, and that is what is impacting their polling pattern.
Arun, I read some very interesting data that apparently the young girls who were girls when Nitish Kumar handed out cycles, which was his first move of outreach towards women voters and young girls, they are now mothers themselves. And they're very keen that their daughters have that kind of independence and see that kind of future. So it's perhaps also weighed heavy, more heavy for the women voters, that they hold on to this reality, that they have this independence, that they have the ability, or their daughters have the ability to move around as much as they did. The question of the 10,000 rupee transfer, there was one analyst who said Nitish Kumar perhaps wouldn't have needed it at all because he already has a large women support group among voters, but that transfer really cemented his position. So, do you think that women voted across caste for Nitish Kumar? That women are the new vote, sort of the vote bank to go after, and it's not so much about caste anymore?
Exactly, exactly. You're totally right. Because when this happened, I used to be in Bihar at that time, when 30 years back you were talking about. So you are very much right. Those girls, young girls, are now mothers, and and what Nitish created, he not just created a vote bank out of women. He created messengers among them. So they are like, all these women are
Mm.
his messengers in the society. So, and it goes beyond caste lines for sure, because Bihar, as everyone says, is a politically aware state, more politically aware than many states. And even so, unlike many other states in northern India, women can actually go and vote beyond their family, what the husband is voting for, or what brother or father is voting for. And that started with Nitish. Nitish created this, and they created this messaging. And I think he's probably, as I said, he's probably the only one in the entire country who has created this vote bank out of women. No, probably people need to learn from him on that, especially the Tejasvi or Congress. They don't focus. They talk about, in general, they will talk about women, no doubt about it. But Nitish has done it over a period of time. All these 20, 30 years he has nurtured this constituency called women. So I think that is a key differentiator. Despite not being in his great of health, despite politically dependent on BJP, despite all that, he has managed to march through. And as I said, he's the only one who can win new election in Bihar.
Barun, in fact, I must ask you about this. The Mahagathbandhan promise of one job for every household, one government job for every household, within 20 days, just seemed completely unreasonable. Did that actually work against a bit backfire? Because I remember it brought about more fear than confidence. People said that, first of all, this is a completely unreasonable promise. They're actually going to mess up the system even further. The young people who wanted jobs felt even more like this was a gimmick and this is not a real solution being offered. Did it actually, do you think that it backfired, that promise?
Not backfired. I will say nobody believed it. From the word
Hmm.
go, nobody believed it, because everyone knows that it is not possible. And in Bihar, job has been a big issue ever since I was a child. I have seen from my parents' days. So, and they know there is no job. It's just not possible. Everyone knows that. Biharis are among those people who love government job like anything, and that is the reason this migration happens in such a big way from there. So they know it is just not possible. It is simply not possible, because earlier also there were, whatever jobs were there, government jobs used to be there. that happened, that went to Jharkhand when the state was divided. So like we have steel plants and everything. I myself come from Bokaro Steel City, so I know. So Jamshedpur we have, so Ranchi. So
Yeah.
whatever areas were there, the geographical areas where the jobs could be there, so that went to Jharkhand. So people know that it's just not possible to create a job in every family. So nobody, so it did not backfire. It just became a, like, as they said, why are you fooling us? It's just not possible. Nobody believed it.
No, I also want to point out to you, Priyanka, you can, I'll bring this to you. The Lok Janshakti Party, Ram Vilas, is actually leading in 22 seats. Compare that to RJD, which has 32, and the Congress, which has 7. This is quite an impressive performance.
By Chirag Paswan's party, definitely. I remember during the campaign, there was absolutely no talk about him, to be very honest. Everybody was talking about, oh, after his father, they are not nurturing constantly like Hajipur and all that. But clearly, he has made a dent, and also that NDA giving that many seats to him to contest is also kind of shows that, okay, he can make, he can make his voters part of the NDA alliance. I mean, he is going to be a good major, if not major, but a relevant partner in the alliance. So yes, they have done it very. In RJD, doing obviously 32 is something which is we have discussed, but also if you look at CPIML, what is happening to the left bloc? I mean, in Mahagathbandhan last time they had 12 seats. Now they are not even, they're just leading in 6. Congress again, yet another nail in their entire I mean, I won't say last nail in the coffin, but yeah, it is another. There's something drastically wrong with them. The fact that state after state they are not able to get along with any regional partner, and still riding the high horse of being a national big pan India party. I mean, their performance does not match to that arrogance or whatever confidence or misplaced confidence is. It's not matching. So it is very interesting this way. Another point which is very interesting is that BJP is now like, when they had 101 each, JDU and BJP is doing much better than JDU even. So going by the leads now, it looks like they may emerge as a single largest party. And in that scenario, it will be interesting to see what will happen to Nitish Kumar's chief ministership.
So okay, so this has swung so many times during the course of this counting from say 8:30 in the morning that everyone has speculated about what happens to Nitish Kumar, right? But now I'm presenting hypotheticals to both of you. If at the current 78, which is what JDU has, and the RJD has 33, or thode or jod ke, is there a possibility that if Nitish Kumar is not given chief ministership, that he will find other friends? He's done it in the past. Barun?
I doubt because they have gone and numbers actually don't. It seems it won't be possible going by numbers. Going by numbers, I don't think even that Nitish plus Mahagathbandhan together can, because BJP and Chirag are together getting big chunk of numbers, and then you have a couple of seats for OVC also. So I think it won't be possible. Probably yes. What is possible, still possible, which is being talked about, that this may remain there for some time, maybe changed. And going by the way BJP gave so many 29 seats to Chirag, and out of that 21 or 22 he looks like winning. So maybe I think he may be the next Nitish in India camp, because BJP is going to need someone in Bihar going by the caste calculation and all. Because traditionally BJP alone gets some upper caste votes and some young votes. So for all those castes, EBCs, what they call extremely backward castes and all, you need either Nitish or you need now, like Chirag has proved this time. I think the highest strike rate
actually,
among all.
Barun, the format that the BJP likes to operate on is a chief minister who has no real popularity of their own, and is reliant on the high command for the seat.
But Nitish is an exception. Nitish has, and similarly,
I think Yogi Adityanath is an exception. Devendra Fadnavis may be an exception also. But largely they like, you know, chief
Wherever
ministers
they
who
will,
don't
so
have a lot
that
of
where,
popularity.
where they win alone. If they are all alone, obviously they would want someone like what we have in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, and all those states. So, but whenever they depend on allies, so generally they go for a face who has got some.
Priyanka ji?
And also we should not forget, Faye, that the central government, the alliance is also very important at the central level.
Yes, yes, that is true.
So that cannot be negated. I mean, you cannot just forget about it. It is not only about state. I mean, at this juncture, and I think given health concerns about Mr. Nitish Kumar, it is quite possible after a couple of years he is replaced by a BJP man, or he himself like kind of pays way for somebody else. But at this juncture, not choosing Nitish Kumar, who has been the center of their narrative, even PM's this thing that that he has been the one under whose leadership the entire campaign is being fought, the
Yes,
elections
yes.
are being fought. I think it will be too much to I don't think BJP, even if BJP wants, they will do it. But yeah, I think central alliance is
Priyanka ji,
very
आपने बोला था, you said, I'm really worried about Nitish Kumar's chief ministership. So you're saying there's a possibility he might not be chief minister, but he still won't have a choice to leave the
BJP.
Gadbandhan.
BJP won't have a choice.
BJP won't have a choice. Okay.
I am just as a journalist, I'm talking about it. But then in politics, you can never be sure. And where BJP comes in, you can never be sure. More so in case of BJP. Yeah.
All right. So we've got a few minutes left. I want from each of you an idea of what this election does now to the national stage, because our audience tends to look at it nationally. We have big state elections coming up. The main players of the BJP, with the Prime Minister Nitish Kumar, Rahul Gandhi, who campaigned for the Congress, and Tejasvi Yadav, who campaigned for the RJD. What does this mean for each of these people on the national stage? Arun, you first.
Yeah, I think immediate impact would be we'll see in Bengal and Assam. I think opposition, Bengal as such, opposition unity was not expected so much. After this, I think Mamta would like to go all alone there. So that is immediate impact. In Assam, Congress has been talking about some kind of alliance, but it seems very unlikely now. And at other levels, so there would be other states, but at the national level also, obviously BJP would be in a much stronger place politically. So with next month we have Parliament winter session happening, then we have budget early next year. So BJP would be much more stronger politically and in terms of the schemes or the work they are going to. I think the immediate bill, which is now with Parliament panel about this criminal cases against politicians. So I think that will sail through very easily now. And similarly, we'll have more. I think something more. They would be in a stronger position to carry forward their agenda.
Priyanka, go ahead.
And I think it means only one thing, Faye. It reinforces that you don't need anybody else than Modi to run successful campaigns. It doesn't matter local level, regional level. It does not matter. It has come to a stage where it is Modi is BJP and BJP is Modi. So I think at the national level, that is what the message is. It's very clear. Any critics he had who doubted after last year's Lok Sabha elections, when they had to, kind of make alliance, that okay, they have come it has diminished his charisma and Modi's charisma and his dominance. I think it's a very, very clear message. No, he's here to stay. Modi cult is here to stay, and BJP can pull through any elections with him alone.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, both of you, Barun and Priyanka, and the entire team at PTI who's helped us out today. It's been fantastic working with you. A really, landslide victory here for the NDA, which is now leading in 191 or 192 seats out of 243, leaving only 47 on the table there for the opposition or the Mahagathbandhan. RJD gets 33 out of that, and only 7 for the Congress. Some of these parties are really going to have to spend the afternoon and perhaps a little more than that introspecting what this means for them on the national stage and going forward. No doubt we'll hear bites from these parties. Some bites saying, oh, we are going to now introspect. One wonders if anything comes from those introspection. But there will be big celebration at the BJP headquarters this evening with the Prime Minister. Like we've been told, there will be Nikki Choka, there will be jalebis, because this is a thumping victory for the BJP, led by the Prime Minister who led this campaign. And Nitish Kumar, as everyone has told us through the course of this day, is here, is not going anywhere. He has managed to hold on to his relevance for over 20 years. He is still the leader of Bihar. He is the leader Bihar chooses clearly. And interestingly, he's the leader that the women of Bihar continue to choose. And so he will most likely stay in his seat for longer. Thank you so much to our audience as well, who's joined us through the course of this counting. It's been a pleasure to spend my morning with you. We'll have more updates and conversations uploaded on this and on our Instagram page. So stay with us. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.